Open all mics on FM and BBC Sounds.
Live on Sports Sound from BBC Radio Scotland.
Leanne Crichton, Michael Stewart and Tom English alongside me here in the studio. We'll take a bounce around the ground in a couple of minutes' time, Tom, but just looking through the games we've got today, we had a big discussion in the Hearts. We'll be keeping a very close eye on that, but this battle for third spot is fascinating, isn't it?
It is, yeah. Between two guys who possibly should be on manager of the year show. Open up that can of worms. Both have been through it, haven't they?
Yes.
Both have been through the mill. Both have had fascinating seasons. David Gray, I think he's, not that long ago, everyone was taking swipes at him. We had callers on here saying he's got to go, the way he's turned that around. And with great dignity, actually, with a lot of class. Jimmy Tilleen, the same. Couldn't buy a win for months. Now they've got their mojo back again. So it's an interesting tussle.
Do you want to call this one, Leanne? Who do you think is going to get third? Right now, Hibs are in possession on goal difference, level in points with Aberdeen. United 3 points behind. If United could get the victory at Easter Road today, it's wide open.
It is. No, I think it's going to be really tough to call, to be honest. Hibs obviously in pole position just now in goal difference, but no, you'd be brave to call it, because I think the way the league campaign has had so many twists and turns for certainly Hibs and Aberdeen. Dundee United are probably the most consistent actually out of the three over the course of the season. Like, they've been there for the entirety of the season almost. So you wouldn't put it past them to go and actually, head for the finish line and manage to put a bit of momentum together. I think, Jim Goodwin on a screen just now, he said a fantastic season. But no, I think it'll go right to the wire. But Hibs being in pole position, probably edges them just now. But
five out of the six managers in the top six should be very pleased with their seasons.
Yeah.
They should be really, really chuffed.
What about the other end of the table, Michael? You said for a number of weeks now you couldn't see a way back for St Johnstone to have any chance. They've got to take a victory at home today against Kilmarnock.
Yeah, and then obviously even then it's still still a fair difficult fight for them to be able to get out of it. But I just, to a certain extent, there's Jekyll and Hyde performances, but more often than not it's shooting themselves in the foot and giving themselves a mountain to climb, that when you're down at the bottom of the table like that, the margin for error is so slim, and I just don't see them being able to get enough results. There has been, as I said, Jekyll and Hyde, sporadic moments where you're thinking, oh, that looks not too bad, but then you look at the table again and you're going, well, they've still got such a big gap to pick up, and lo and behold, the next week they just put in an abject performance. So are they capable of putting 4 performances back to back to get themselves out of it? Well, the evidence would suggest no.
A lot has gone wrong for them this season. Injuries, players out of form, and a lot has gone wrong for that club for the last 4 years. You could say, I think, so John, this is not Valakari's fault, and I would hope that he would keep him for next season if they do go down to try and rebuild.
Whose fault is it?
It's gone back 4 years. I think when the St Johnstone fans will tell you that the kind of decline started around August 2021 when they started selling their double cup winning team. When Ali McCann and Jason Kerr both went on the final day of the transfer window, things started to go into decline then. That team broke up. McCart, Rooney, Xander Clark, Liam Gordon, they all started to drift away, and the ones that came in were nowhere near that level. So that this has been coming, and I suspect it will, even though their home record is good. Their home record against Killie is very good. Killie's away record is atrocious. They might have a chance today, but I think even if they do win, I'm not sure they're going to get out of trouble.
Right, early chance, Sean Robertson.
Chance for Hearts there. They went down the left-hand side. Penrice to Spittle, he whipped it in. George Grant appeared from nowhere. Got a flick just inches past the post.
Yes, an early chance up there in Dingwall. Let's take a bounce around the grounds then. Let's start at the game at Dens Park. Dundee at home to Motherwell. Stephen Craigan, vital wins for both clubs last weekend.
Yeah, it was, Kenny, and that's why I expected quite an open attacking game this afternoon. All players on the pitch should be full of confidence. that win just gives you that little injection that you need to feel good about yourself and believe every game you go into you can win. Now, Dundee have won 3 of the last 5 with 2 clean sheets in the last 3 games, so that tells you they're moving in the right direction. And again, I touched on it earlier, having that experience, Alexa Clark-Robertson and Joe Shaughnessy and Simon Murray, experienced players who know when it comes this stage of the season, they have the mentality and the experience to cope with it. But Motherwell have changed to the back 4. They changed it. Last week they were losing 1-0 at home against St Johnstone. Michael Bimmer's first time under his tenure that they changed the shape. They've gone to a back 4, 3 in midfield and 3 up front, and they look more comfortable. They're moving the ball well. Lennon Miller and Andy Halliday have got an out-and-out number 10 ahead of them, and Callum Slattery to find his feet. Tom Sparrow looks better, I think, in the final third of the pitch, attacking-wise as opposed to defensive. The 2 centre-halves, when Stephen O'Donnell's not a central defender, but he's actually done okay. Dan Casey I've always liked, has always been solid, so there's a better look about the team. However, when you look at the pace and the threat this Dundee side have, Motherwell are going to have to be on the ball.
We heard from John Robertson in Dingwall. John made a big chat about Hearts, of course, at the start of the programme, but you rightly pointed out this is also a huge game for County this afternoon. Just worrying signs for them in recent weeks.
Yeah, well, I said both teams are struggling. County have 1 in 5 all defeats. Hearts have had 1 draw in 5. Hearts have started slightly the better here. They've got the ball to Vargas early on and Forrest to break down the flanks. But County need a win. This is huge for both sides today.
When you look, Alan Preston, down the team sheet, I think of the St Johnstone team lines there. Is Simo Valakari really going for it this afternoon, expecting all-out attack from him?
He is, yeah, already it started, and it's an interesting battle. Lewis Mayo, who was at Rangers, are playing against Josh McPake, who was at Rangers as kids, so they'll know each other well. There's a year between them, so they'll certainly play against each other. And at the moment, McPake's had the better of Mayo. Cut inside on his right foot. A shot was blocked. It's been a decent start from St Johnstone here, but it's still 0-0 and we have 4 minutes on the clock.
Right, I'm going to come back to Alan in a minute. Alan's got a quiz question, and I'm going to put our listeners up against our pundits this afternoon. So he sent it to me midweek. I had 2 guesses. I got it wrong both times. So Alan, Michael's chuckling. It's not a surprise, I don't suppose, but I think it's quite a tough question. So Alan can give us that in just 1 minute, and we'll get our listeners to go up against our pundits to see who comes out on top. So just hold fire for that one. Let's get to Easter Road, the early stages here. Stephen McGinn is there for us. Quite an open game so far, Stephen.
Yeah, both teams just sizing each other up out. There was a really impressive tifo before the game behind one of the goals in tribute to Sir David Gray, which brought out a really loud atmosphere in the home stands. I've been to Easter Road a few times to watch this Hibs team, and there's been a lot of routine victories. It feels like a big game today. It feels like a really nervy one. Dun United obviously defend the box as well as anyone in the league, and it feels like it's going to be a really tight game.
Let me put you in the spot, Stephen McGinn. Which one of these 2 managers would be more deserving of Manager of the Year?
Chance for Hibs. Martin Boyle. Goal for Hibs.
That might answer
Oh, good ball.
Brilliant from Chris Cadden. It's gone in almost accidentally by Martin Boyle. Declan Gallagher can't move his feet, but it's the type of ball from Chris Cadden that makes it so difficult for defenders. And I said the game is going to be tight. What a start that is from Hibs.
We're just having a wee look. You're waiting for a replay, Leanne and Michael, and a look
The initial through ball's excellent. I don't know who it is that plays it, Stephen.
Levitt, I think.
Is it Levitt? Yeah, lovely defence, splitting pass. Cadden runs on, and you're right, just puts it into a dangerous area. It's the things that's so simple, so effective. You're asking players to do it all the time. Don't overcomplicate the type of pass along the ground into that no man's land. Lovely ball.
Great
Cadden
ball.
does really well.
Oh my goodness.
Gallagher actually, if he had a bit of awareness about him, what's behind him, he just needs to almost dummy the ball and let it go through.
I think it's Hoylett that plays the ball through.
Yeah.
It's dreadful, isn't it? I mean, you have to say, but listen.
Yeah, Hoylett with a wonderful ball through, and then Cadden, and you're just looking at it and thinking to yourself, oh, he's put it on a plate. But then as it was playing out, I'm thinking to myself, how's Martin Boyle getting on the end of that? It's a bit of a disaster from Declan Gallagher.
As well as anyone. I think I've just jinxed them.
They have been very solid, haven't they? I mean, that's been the foundation. When Declan Gallagher, we know he's not getting kept on at United next season. Jim Goodwin has said that. Very experienced defender. But how impressed overall, Stephen, have you been with United this season?
Yeah, well, I mean, even I know they lost heavily to Celtic. I actually thought they'd started really well in the game last week, but they went into that off the back of 3-1-0 wins. They've been really solid all season, and I worked with Jim when he first became St Mirren manager, and a lot of how he was going to set the team up was almost attacking intent and wingers, and I think he's learned his experience of being in the league. First and foremost, you have to be really solid. and build from within that, and I think that's what he's really built, a solid, hard to beat Dundee United team.
Yeah, no, Stephen, I was just asking that question when the goal went in. David Gray is a nomination for the Manager of the Year, but I mean, Jim Goodwin on the return to the top flight, he's done a terrific job.
Yeah, absolutely, and a lot of credit's got to be given to the Dundee United board at the time when they appointed him, because he was fresh off the back of the sack in Aberdeen, and I mean they took a bit of a risk on him in terms of the negative noise around Jim at the time, but working in the league, he's done a lot of games now. The players like him. He knows how to, as a player, he knows how to win games at the level, and he certainly does as a manager now.
That sounds like logic being used again there, Stephen.
For appointing a manager.
Not sure that catch on.
East 5-1, Elgin City 0. Robert Jones on 8 minutes. Just confirmation that early goal for Hibs. Hibs 1, Dundee United 0. Martin Boyle on 3 minutes. Let's get to the game in Paisley. St Mirren up against Aberdeen. What's happening in the early stages, Rory Loy?
Aberdeen have been brilliant, Kenny, really, really good. The only thing that's let them down is the dead ball situations. They've had 3-4 corners from really, really good play. Graeme Shinnie's just had a cross from open player straight out the pitch. They've done everything but that final little bit. St Mirren haven't even been in Aberdeen's half, so they can fly out the traps, Aberdeen, so they have. St Mirren haven't had a kick. Just looking at the team lines, I know Martin posed a question to Jimmy Talleen about who would play up with Kevin Nisbet, because it's effectively it's 3 wingers in behind them, and Ockles, Morris and Keskinen. So the answer to that question is Keskinen is playing in behind Kevin Nisbet and getting up in support.
Right, quite a slow start to the game, so let's go with this one. So if any listeners can be quick on the button here, just drop me a message on X or on Twitter at Kenny Mac Sport if you know the answer to this one. See if you can beat our pundits on this. Right, Alan Preston, your quiz questions. Leanne's going to take notes, so here we are. They're taking it seriously.
I want to give Mark Donaldson of ESPN, Donkey Donaldson, who used to work in Scotland now in America. He's the one that posed me it.
Right.
Who was the last manager to finish third in the Scottish Premiership and still be in charge of the same at the end of the following season?
Cut up. What was that?
Same. You cut off there, Alan. Just repeat it one more time.
Who was the last manager to finish third in the Scottish Premiership and still be in charge of the same team at the end of the following season, and what year was it?
Right, I had 2 guesses, but I'm pretty sure they're obvious ones to go, because I'm hoping someone will make the same mistake.
Well, you would instinctively, I would say Derek McInnes.
That was my first guess.
Yeah.
No, that was my first guess.
Second.
Because you're striking away all the.
Oh, he finished second.
The last ones.
Yeah.
No, but
he's finished
he's done.
well.
He has done it, but someone's done it since then. Yes.
Yeah. Right. Well, instinctively you're looking at obviously Stephen Naismith didn't happen. Robbie didn't happen. Jack Ross, it's not happened.
Stuart McCall?
No, but that'd been before Derek, so it's happened since Derek.
Right, come on, listeners, try and get to me on this. So try and beat our pundits on this. They're having a good think about this one. So Leanne and Michael are conferring off mic here. I'll bring an update on that. Let's continue then. A bounce around the grounds. Let's get to that game at Dens Park. It's been a remarkable season for Dundee. They were fantastic last season, of course, under Tony Docherty, Stephen. But the big issue this season has been the defensive problems, hasn't it?
It has been, Kenny. 71 goals conceded clearly isn't good enough. We've spoken often enough about their attacking threat and the energy they have in midfield, the creative spark at the top end. And I know sometimes as a player, when you're missing from a team, your profile can grow. And that's probably what's happening with Joe Shaughnessy, because he's come back into the side. I said they've had 2 clean sheets in their last 3 games. They've moved from a back 3 to a back 4, as have Motherwell. Both teams have had dreadful situations this season defensively with conceding goals and the manner of the goals. So it just shows you how sometimes a little tweak of the shape can just suit the players they have available.
Right, go!
Kilmarnock, David Watson has been coming. It's been down the left-hand side. Eventually it's rolled back to Watson. He opens the ball up on his right foot and finds the bottom far corner.
Good goal.
We're 11 and a half minutes on the clock. We're at St Johnstone 0, Kilmarnock 1.
I like him as a player. I think he's got a lot to give David Watson. A good attitude. Just talk us through the goal there, Michael. Just waiting for the replay to come in the studio here.
Talking about on the inside left channel, he's on the edge of the box and he just opened his body up onto his right boot and he bends it into the far corner, and certainly from the view that we've got here, it's one of the small screens in the bottom. It didn't look as if the goalkeeper had any chance. He got to the byline, they tried to fizz it across, and then eventually it works its way back to the edge of the box, and He's on that inside left channel, just bends it into the far
Nice.
corner. So a really good goal, really good strike from David Watson.
Alan posed that quiz question. Pistol has been first in touch. He is a Coon of the South fan. He has said Alan Stubbs. That is not the correct answer.
Since Derek McInnes done it. So
Biscuits, I've sent you my answer. Is
I
that
would
right?
go.
Right, Jill has said Davy Hay and Jim Leishman. That is not the correct answer. Keep them coming. I want the listeners to beat the pundits. That's important. Who?
Gerrard.
Stephen Gerrard is not the correct answer.
Sorry, Kenny, with a big chance here.
Right, man, John Roberts. So don't say what it is, John.
He was very confident, Mikey. Mikey was the cat that had the cream there.
Right, Stephen Gibson has gone for the person who's my second guess. I'm just trying to see who Stephen supports. So Stephen is a Celtic fan. He said Steve Clark. That's what I went for, but that is not the correct answer. Wayne Dooner has said the same answer, Stevie Clark at Kilmarnock. That is not the correct answer. So don't say it, Alan, but John Robertson has got it correct.
Yes.
Bang on, well done to Robert. So we'll let the listeners go and we'll let the guys in the studio here suffer just a little bit longer, shall we? Right, let's continue.
Sorry, Kenny, we had a big chance here.
Right, take away, Stephen.
Adewumi should have given Dundee the lead. It was just actually whenever Kilmarnock were scoring down there in Perth, I think it was. It was a lovely little ball up the inside of Johnny Katrumbas, who's playing right back for Motherwell. And the pace of Adewumi got him beyond him. Aston Oxford was really sharp off his line. He tried to lift it over the top of him.
Good
but a really
save,
smart
Owen.
save.
Hoylett, another save.
Yes, Stephen.
I can't believe what I'm watching from Dundee United. Everything I said about being solid at the back, they've just handed it in a plate to Hibs, and Walton's kept them in the game.
Right, congratulations to Matthew. He has got the correct answer. Just trying to see which team Matthew supports, but well done to Matthew. He has come up with the correct answer. Hawkeye has not got the correct answer. Plenty of people getting in touch. Sean McHugh, not the correct answer. He said Graham Murty. That is not the correct answer. So Matthew has got the correct answer. Shall we reveal? Leanne, have another stab, Leanne. Come on.
Just put us out of misery, Kenny, will you?
Right,
no, let them keep guessing.
Listen, I thought it was a really tough one. I think it's proven to be the case. So well done to Matthew, the fan there, getting in touch. We'll take just one more minute. Let's continue around the grounds. So we've been to Easter Road. We have been to the game at Dens Park. Let's get to Dingwall. Ross County against Hearts. What's happening, John?
Yeah, Hearts are controlling the game. They've got more of the ball. They've created slightly better chances. Forrester had a shot straight at the keeper. Ross County just going long to their three forwards. On occasions, not troubled Craig Gordon at all. So, you know, Hearts are in control, but County are well in the game. There's no doubt about it. It's, as I say, both teams are jousting away. The Hearts are playing 4-3-3 and pushing Harman and Brown back the way into a 5, and they're getting that extra man in midfield. Grant's got forward a few times. County get it forward. It's 4 against 3, but so far, Halkett and Kent are handling Jordan White, who's playing down the middle. He's enough, but still 0-0.
Let's get to the game in Perth. What a start for Kilmarnock and a long way back for the home side, Alan Preston.
Yeah, and Kilmarnock have been very impressive. They're running the ball high up the park. St Johnstone taking chances at the back. Really good goal though from David Watson. 20 yards bending into the bottom corner. Nice play down there. It's got a little break in the ball with Fraser Murray, but eventually finds it to Ndaba. He rolls it back to Watson, and his right foot curler found the bottom corner. St Johnstone have not really been in the game. We have 15 minutes on the clock where it's 1-0 to Kilmarnock.
Right, Tom English is looking knowingly at me. He's asking to come in just 1 minute, Tom. Ricky Mullen says Stuart McCall, not the correct answer. Another one here, Chris Caffrey says Jack Ross, not the correct answer. Aileen Clifford, well done to you, Aileen. You've also got it right. If I tell you what club Aileen supports, I think you will get the answer. So Tom English, you jump in, you're just desperate. Here we go. This better be right.
I don't know if it's right. Is it Stephen Robinson?
No, it's not correct. Right, okay, we'll continue.
Said with authority, Thomas. Said with authority.
Robert, he was looking very confident there, I can have to tell you.
He had that lovely smug smile on his face.
He did, but that has disappeared very quickly. Let's get back to the game in Paisley. A very bright start, you said, for Aberdeen, Rory Loy.
Yeah, St Mirren have come back into it now. It's still 0-0 at the moment. Nicky Devlin got booked for a crunching tackle. I know he's not played an awful lot of football recently, so maybe just a little bit rusty in terms of his timing. He crunched in O'Hara, and Jonah Ayunga's just been booked as well. St Mirren have put a few balls into the box, so they're coming back into it. It's still 0-0.
2-0 Hibs!
2-0, yes!
Kukarevic! I can't believe what I'm watching from Dundee United. It's so easy for Hibs. They keep getting in. This time Kukarevic punishes them. He's just got the beating of Declan Gallagher for pace. He's not really caught it well on his left foot, but enough to get off the post and beat Walton and put Hibs 2-0 up.
Yeah, fantastic there for Kukarevic at Easter Road. What a start. you'd have to say, for Hibs there at home to Dundee United. Kukarevich following up from that bizarre goal, you'd have to say, from Martin Boyle. Well done to David Gray. What a season he is having. As we said, he is on the short list for Manager of the Year. Alan Preston, you had another opportunity there at McDermott.
That was for Mackenzie Kirk. Good check. Piazzi rolls the ball across. Kirk's got his back to go. Quickly gets turned. Has a right foot shot deflected just wide of the target, away for a corner. Decent chance for St Johnstone. Mackenzie Kirk's a man in form for him at the moment, but it's still 1-0. Come on up.
Right, well done to Scotland's coefficient. He has got the correct answer. So Scotland's coefficient, he was third with the answer. Aileen Clifford was second with the answer. Matthew was first to get the correct answer. So fine, Leanne, I think you've got it. At least you're smiling.
We've not, but there's going to be a steward's inquiry, I think, when you do tell us.
Oh, right, well, listen, I'll hand this. Right, another one. Blair Finney says McGee. No, it's not McGee. Right, Alan Preston, you can tell us the answer, although Leanne is saying there could be a steward's inquiry. Alan.
Well, the answer is John Hughes in 2014-15. He finished third, then seventh the following year. Derek McInnes was third the year before that, then 4 consecutive years at second.
So was Stephen Robinson. He finished third in the COVID season.
The COVID season he was
and
third.
he would have been the manager still at the
But he left
following year.
he left the next January. So he wasn't in charge then the following season, is that right?
Yeah.
No, was it no the January after that?
Did not go to Morecambe.
He left.
He wouldn't have
January
left.
2021.
Anyway, chaps, I might get my Tom English mug saying as being the first person to win.
Surely we can do better than that.
Oh no, I'll be quite happy with a Tom English mug.
That's fine, Robbo, you got it.
Alan, I want to put this actually, start with
Chance
yourself.
for Hearts, Alan
Yes.
Forrest should have scored there, the ball just rolled him in the box. Side footed it straight at Misa. It's all Hearts at the moment.
Guys, give us your thoughts on this, because I mentioned this on Off the Ball when I stood in the trail earlier on. We've got a St Johnstone fan joining us. He's first up in the fan section at 5:30. He's been on before, and when he was on before, he said, look, and it was looking bad at that point, it's obviously looking worse today. He said, I would rather get relegated watching the football under Simo Valakari than stay up watching Craig Levine's football. Can any of you understand that from a fan's perspective? Robbo, you start us in that.
Yeah. No.
No,
well, listen, fans want to be entertained, I get it. They want to see good football, they want to see it pleasing the eye, but no, I'm sorry, you want to stay in the league, surely.
Robbo, would it surprise you? Michael Stewart said yes.
Let me just tell you, Kenny.
That's a stock answer.
Kenny, there's a club that came up last night who's similar to St Johnstone.
I didn't say it.
The club are similar to St Johnstone and Falkirk, and they were out the league for 15 years.
Yes.
Yeah.
So be careful what you wish for.
Yeah, I remember Willie we mentioned this before, Leanne, and Willie was saying he couldn't understand it. Wait a minute, what are you saying?
I'm laughing at this here because I am pretty positive this debate came up, 3-4 months ago?
It was a while, yeah, he's come back on tonight.
And he...
Wait a minute, so you have to say who you're pointing at.
Tom English, right, was sitting there because...
Michael, are you missing Craig Levine? Because you're not very hard on Tom English.
That's a brilliant clearance.
I was saying...
Michael and Craig Levine.
It's understandable...
Who saw this coming?
No. So you're getting this round the wrong way. I said at the time, fans would say, at this point, yeah, I would rather... that this happens, but when it comes to like the crunch, because they don't feel like they're actually relegated at that point, and I said fans would naturally want to stay up, and Tom was sitting there going like, well, no, you've got to listen to the fans. I think you can understand. And now he's changing his tune.
Now
he's changing his tune.
I'm not changing my tune.
Well, you are.
And I'll tell you, I listened to off.
Today he's changing his tune.
I listened
Tom's
to
in reverse again.
I listened to Off the Ball. Well, I listened to Off the Ball, and I heard Stuart talking, a St Johnstone fan, who said that he had a lot of sympathy with that viewpoint.
He did.
So there you are, Michael.
With what viewpoint?
Surprise, surprise, Michael, you don't know everything.
With what viewpoint?
that there is a view among St Johnstone fans that are exactly that. They'd rather go down playing this type of football.
Yeah,
that's the view.
You're missing my point here. You're missing
my point is that I can see both arguments. Your point is you can see your own argument.
No, you've missed it completely.
Right, okay.
Right, let's continue our journey.
Line up
must have been a poor argument.
Right, let's continue around the ground. Let's get to the game at Easter Road. What a flying start for the home side. And you're right, Steve, we've praised Dundee United's defending all season. They've been very, very solid. But it's been a disaster in the early stages there.
Yeah, a really poor start from Dundee United, but as you were talking there was a really bizarre incident. I think Kukarevich has maybe got injured with some sort of facial injury during these celebrations.
Right, hold fast, Stephen. Yes, John Robertson.
Another chance, just a long ball through the middle. Lawrence Shanklin just bullies the centre half, and it bounces for Forrest. And you'll probably see this, Leanne, but he just didn't seem committed. He just hooks it over the bar.
No, he doesn't make a great connection with it.
It's a great chance, and the flag didn't go up.
Just to give you some other goals that are flying in: Spartans 1, Edinburgh City 0, Brogan Walls with that goal, and also there was another one coming in from Scotland. Kelty Hearts 1, Alloa Athletic 0, Craig Johnson on 23 minutes. Let's get back then to Easter Road, because it's been a terrific story, Steve McGinn, the transformation, the turnaround under David Gray. What do you think's been key to it? He's spoken about the change of shape, we've spoken about Nicky Cadno, he's been out injured, but the influence he's had in the team, but also another player, we discussed this last weekend, and it actually is probably kind of similar to the actual club as a whole, the team as a whole, but Rocky Bashiri, the transformation in him's been incredible.
You've just took the words out of my mouth. Even in the first 20 minutes, he's been one of the best players in the park, because he can win the race, he can win any ball over the top. He's quick enough that there was one early on, Dalby was clean through, but he was quick enough to recover the situation. Aerially dominant. He's controlling the game with his voice, he's organising things about him. He's been crucial. I mean, what David Gray's found in Rocky Bashiri, you're actually looking thinking he's central to any sort of plans moving forward to continue this upward trajectory.
And see me hear that sentence, Leanne, a sentence you never thought you'd hear in your life.
No, what is that down to though, Stephen? Like, how is it possible to see such a transformation?
Honestly, you actually see Rocky Bashiri since Christmas, you actually look at him and there's a bit of a Carter Vickers about him, and it's mad to say that from where it was, but you're looking at half a season, you're going, he can do everything as a defender.
But no worry, you know, Stephen,
it's a chance, it's a goal for Aberdeen.
Yes, Rory Loy.
It's swung into the back post, and it's Ockles who's on the end of it on the volley. St Mirren are complaining. I think they think it's offside. It's a good finish in the end.
Claiming for a handball, I think, Rory, possibly.
Right, OK, Leanne and Michael, have we look at that? Just waiting for the replay to come into the studio. Rory did tell us about a fast start. They've not got a good record in Paisley, have the Dons, but they could be off to a flyer here, of course. Like every goal that's scored across Scotland, it will be looked at. We're just seeing the referee. He is getting communication. Yes, John Robertson.
Big goal here in Dingwall. Brilliant finish. Ronan Hale has put Ross County ahead against her on the play. Beningame loses out to Kenny. Kenny throws it to Hale, and he has smashed it across Craig Gordon. 1-0.
Check for handball in Paisley.
Right, check handball in Paisley. We'll get back to that, Land. If you have a chance to have a look at the replay, it'll just come in now.
Brilliant finish. Yeah, huge goal. Really good finish from Ronan Hale. Just opens up, takes it right in his stride onto his right foot, back across the goalkeeper. Just nestles in the far corner, and I'm just getting a quick glimpse at that Aberdeen goal. Does look like it might have come off Nisbet's hand, but
why is Killian Phillips at the back post just stopping? I mean, he's actually closer.
He's been caught.
Aye.
He absolutely caught cold, Michael, in terms of his recovery run, and he was going to get away with one. You know, if this is it.
He did seem in acres of space, Ockles in the middle of the goals.
Uche Pays has been yellow carded, but Kamana player goes down holding his face.
Okay. Keep a wee eye out.
Right, we've got that.
What a finish that is for Ronan Hale, by the way.
Really good, eh?
Aye.
He's been a good signing, hasn't he?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's been inconsistent, but you could see right from the get-go, and I think obviously Don Kelly spoke about it as well. He's a really good finisher, and I mean, obviously scoring goals has been a big problem for Ross County. But that is a great finish, and he's somebody that, yes, I would agree, he has been a good addition. He's been a good signing for them on the whole.
Yeah, perhaps more to come though. Still,
I'm just getting a look at that one. Sorry.
Right, so referees going over the Paisley.
Yeah, it can't be factual then. It must be for interference then, I would imagine, or because if it hits that, either hits the hand or it doesn't.
Well, I think he needs to decide if it's a natural position and all that, isn't it, or how it impacts the game. We're just going to get a better replay.
Yeah, because obviously if it hits a player's hand and somebody else scores, then it's not just straight away. It's not just straight away.
Oh my God, it's so difficult to tell.
If it comes
off his arm,
it does touch his hand. It does.
Right, so what are you doing? What are you giving?
That's a tough one, because then you are able to touch somebody's hand and then another teammate scores. That's allowed. So what you're saying there is that affected This is I'm at a loss.
That's what I mean about the interference, Michael, rather than the straightforward one.
You don't think Gogish didn't push him, no?
I'm not sure he did he?
I don't know.
But I thought if it leads directly to a goal, then it's...
Would they send the referee
No
over for handball?
goal ruled out, still 0-0.
Right, we'll get some clarification
I'm not
on that.
surprised, Kenny. I think that is how the law used to be. If it leads directly to a goal, then it cannot stand.
No, but it's if you as the person that scored has
No,
controlled
it's
it
if
with your
the
hand.
contact leads directly, like the initial handball.
No, but he's not scored.
You can't assist yourself, I don't think, Leanne. You can assist someone else if it's accidental.
So this has been ruled that it's a deliberate or it's affected the game because it can touch a
we'll get
teammate.
clarity on it then.
Let's get that for the VAR.
It's a real difficult one.
Yes.
A real difficult one.
We can see Kevin Nisbet on our screens now. Him and Gogic are having quite the conversation. I think Nisbet's point is he feels that Gogic has almost impeded him, and that slight nudge from behind has forced his arm out into that position where the contact's come. So you can understand the frustration from Aberdeen. And Alan, I had a quick look at that arm in the face at your game. Finlay had a real good holdie, Ikpeazu, and I think he's almost tried to just wrestle free. For me, the yellow card was absolutely fine. There was no intent and nothing else.
Right, one thing's for sure, we said it at the get-go there, Killian Phillips has got away with one big time.
Massively.
Right, let me just
He's right
give
in
you
the middle
some...
of the goals, Ockle, isn't he, Michael?
Yeah.
He should never be in that amount of space.
Right, the latest scores in the Premiership: Dundee 0, Motherwell 0, Ross County 1, Hearts 0. A great finish from Ronan Hale. St Johnstone 0, Kilmarnock 1. Also a good finish there from David Watson. Hibs 2, Dundee United 0. Dreadful defending for both goals. Martin Boyle with the opener on 3 minutes. Kukarevic with a second on 40 minutes. Aberdeen thought they were ahead in pace. That goal has just been chopped off. We'll get clarity on that. St Mirren 0, Aberdeen 0. So into League One. Still things to be decided there in terms of the playoff spots at the top. Annan Athletic 0, Cove Rangers 1, Arbroath 0, Queen of the South 0, Kelty Hearts 2, Alloa Athletic 0, Montrose 0, Inverness Cally Thistle 0, Stenhousemuir 1, Dumbarton 0. They're right in the mix to get the last of the playoff spots there. Just looking at the live table right now, they've jumped ahead of Alloa there on 53 points, but still plenty to play for this afternoon. Into League 2, Clyde 1, Peterhead 0, East Fife 1, Elgin City 0, Forfar Athletic 0, Stirling Albion 0, Spartans 1, Edinburgh City 0, and it's Stranraer 0, Bonnyrigg Rose 0. Now, Tam Cowan, if you're listening, you corrected me on off the ball, but there is still plenty to play for right at the bottom of League 2. Just going to pull the table up there now.
Forfar are 2 points ahead.
That's the thing, Alan. So Forfar are ahead at the bottom of the table. Bonnyrigg Rose, I think it was a 96th minute winner they got last week to keep their hopes alive. So they are still very much in it. Lots to play for there. And just looking elsewhere at the latest scores, it was a full-time, actually, lunchtime kickoff down in England. Aston Villa 1, Fulham 0. Half an hour played, Everton 1, Ipswich Town 0. Game interrupted, it's saying Leicester City 1, Southampton 0. Bringing an update on that. 5:30 start, Arsenal at home to Bournemouth. Let's then continue our bounce around the grounds. Let's get back to Dens Park, Dundee and Motherwell. Who's in top there? Stephen Craigan.
Well, it's been quite a 50-50 game, Kenny. I think Dundee have had the best two chances. Motherwell only about 4 or 5 minutes ago had their best chance, probably their only real clear-cut chance. Oh! What a goal! What an incredible finish! It's a long throw from the right-hand side. It bobbles about in the Motherwell box, and I think it's Portales lifts his right leg and volleys it into the top corner past Aston Oxford. He can't move. He's standing still, and the ball just nestles lovely in the top corner. And the guy in front of me has just turned around and given me a couple of signals, because I got a little bit excited when Callum Slattery almost scored. So take that, Stephen Craigan. It's Dundee 1, Motherwell 0.
Gotta love the Scottish football fan. Did you get a wee chance to have a look at that one?
Yeah, it's brilliant. What a strike. Yep, Craigs is all over it. It looks to me maybe it's one that the long throw naturally it probably is worked off the training ground when you're looking to get the contact, but they get the break of the ball just the way it sits up, but he couldn't catch it any sweeter. You can tell by a player's celebration whether they were expecting to score that type of goal or not, and he is absolutely delighted, buzzing with himself.
And you've got to say that run of results at the moment are exactly what Hearts don't need. Kilmarnock and Dundee winning, they both go above Hearts. Hearts are now sitting 10th, 2 points above the playoff spot.
I mean, it has now got to be, listen, aside from everything that's going on at the club and decisions that have got to be made, Michael, it's got to be a concerning time right now in terms of that league position, because there can't be any confidence among these players.
No, exactly. But I mean, look, you know, this goes back to the whole debate about these things don't happen in isolation. you know, and you look at, and this is what I've tried to say before about finishing third, fourth and third. Yes, there was success in there. And the point I was making about Robbie Neilson being bulleted, not a fan's favourite, lost 5 games in a row, not good enough, but the context was that there's some difficult games in there, but they didn't recruit well enough that summer. Then you fast forward to the shambolic situation where you appoint Stephen Naismith, but you didn't really appoint him. You have somebody else who's in charge, but he's not in charge. An absolute disaster, but you finished third that season. And this is an interesting one in terms of data and information. Anybody that watched that season could see that there was a lack of substance and direction in the team as a whole. But the data would tell you that they won more away games than ever before. They'd beaten Celtic away. They were scoring great goals. They were winning games. There were all these things that you can point to legitimately. But if you scratch away from the data and you use your eyes, you're saying, well, they've got a striker who has scored a phenomenal amount of goals, and big decisions have gone their way to help them get to there. And the other teams that you would look to challenge weren't particularly great. Because otherwise, how can you go from finishing third to starting the next season and going 8 games in the league without a win?
I think it's one of the challenges of being fan-owned. There's a lot of benefits of it. There's money going into the club, but the fans, if they decide they don't want Robbie Neilson,
leadership's needed.
Yeah,
that's what it needs.
But if you're owned by the fans, Michael,
yes,
it's a
That's
stress
brilliant
thing.
save.
But you're fan-owned, but you're not fan-run, Tom.
Right, Alan Preston.
Ikpeazu, he's got to score. It's a free kick, knocked back. Ikpeazu's 4 yards out. He hits it right at Fisher. It's a brilliant save by the keeper. Makes himself really big. Wonderful stop. Still 1-0 Kilmarnock.
Fan-owned, not fan-run. You can't run by committee.
No, I agree with that. But if your fans who contribute all this money every month,
yes,
or feel that they're not being listened to, they may stop contributing the money, and then you've got a problem.
Yeah, but Tom, this comes back to leadership knowing what they're doing. If you know what you're doing, you ride out a storm, correct or not. And what's happened there is they capitulate and buckle at the first sign of trouble every time, and then they compound it by making poor decisions off the back of it.
Listen, there's no arguing that.
Kenny, I said saved by O'Hara there, but
chance for Hibs.
So you agreed.
Right, hold on a second. Right, chance for Hibs. Steve McGinn, hold on. Steve McGinn.
Honestly, Declan Gallagher's just short back pass straight to Martin Boyle. Martin Boyle should probably do more to get a shot away because he's clean through. I think he's trying to be unselfish, but you can't believe what you're watching defensively from Dundee United.
Oh, Declan,
big chance for Hearts again. Shankland in, shot saved by Misa. He lobs it back over. Misa taps it over the bar. It's been unbelievable. It's been all Hearts. But it's that brilliant finish from Hale that's separating the teams.
Definitely been the commentator's curse at Easter Road from you, Stephen.
Kenny, this season for Hearts reminds me of the year Hibs went down when they went to Tynecastle to relegate Hearts. Hearts got demoted because they went in administration. Hibs never won a game in the bottom 6 and eventually lost in the playoffs to Hamilton Accies. This has got this all over it.
Alan, would you correct me if I'm wrong? I think Hibs were 7 points clear of the playoff spot going into the last 5 games.
That was it. Yeah, they never won a game in the bottom 6, Michael. They ended up losing it. I think they won 2-0 at Accies and then Hamilton lost on penalties.
I said it last week that if Hearts, and they're now in a relegation fight, they're not attuned to a relegation battle. The teams around them are. So they're kind of caught cold here. It's a poor team, and they're not up for this.
We've seen it before. We've seen it even with Kilmarnock a number of seasons ago as well. It was the same type of story. They'll have enough. They'll get out of it. They won't get relegated. They get relegated.
But it's an indictment for that they're even near this. This is the point. You can't just go and go, oh well, they're in a relegation. Why? Why are they there? And it's because of the people in charge making poor decisions and compounding it by making poor decisions.
But also, you can't give the players a bye. The players are. No. I know you're not. But the players are. They've been a bit of a disgrace. A good few of them this season. An unhealthy number of them. On top of what you're saying.
That comes again down to leadership, though, Tom, doesn't it?
Totally.
I know you set your standards as a player, but also the environment is created by the leaders.
Sure, yeah, but
it's all kicking off.
It's a collective.
Oh, indeed. Don't know what's going on here.
Right, Stephen Craigan.
Yeah, I think it was a corner kick and Motherwell tried to break away. Joe Shaughnessy had a heavy tackle. Clark Robertson was involved. Tony Watt got involved with Joe Shaughnessy. He's been shown a yellow card, so I'm not too sure what he'd done on the ground. But there was a bit of a melee. It's now been separated, and we're back under. Well, we're not back underway. We're about to get back underway. But just touching on this game, Ken, it just shows you the rivalry shows no boundaries. Motherwell had a banner up with their fans that said out of the championship, out of Hamilton. The end is near. So who would have thought? There's no sympathy when it comes to football. And what else do we expect?
None whatsoever. Again, we had a Hamilton fan in the programme a few weeks ago, and you could tell what it meant to him. He'd been a supporter all his life. He said, unfortunately, he's got his young son now, and a Hamilton Accies fan.
Right, I was on,
remember that when they are. And, you know,
fair
really
play to the
tough
fans
time.
last night, by the way, the Accies fans.
Brilliant.
That were there.
Good support.
After the disappointment.
What about that Falkirk support last night? Creeping on. I thought they were going to start playing at one point.
What about
They
the
were
Madden?
brilliant.
Listen, I know anything can happen, right? And I'm not saying that you would do it differently, but 5 minutes. Injury time last night. 5 minutes.
Just blow the whistle.
3-1.
And by
And
the
you've got
whistle.
fans literally almost on the pitch going, just call it a day.
Ryan, and they played almost 6.
I know.
I think they
The
stopped
referee, I
it.
thought you're at it. Like.
94 minutes and like 50 odd seconds. The corner was about to be taken, and they've stopped it. And having stadium announcements about fans need to get back. I was thinking, just blow your whistle.
Liam Henderson was trying to tell folk to get back to their seats. I thought, just let the celebrations go.
It looked fantastic on the television, and what came out, the amount of young people at that, in that stadium was absolutely
good.
fantastic.
Yeah.
But I blend the ages, that's what I said earlier on.
There's a chance for Hearts. Forrest is clean
older
through.
fan.
John Robertson.
It's on his left foot. Oh! Hearts broke away there, 2-1. Shanklin went down the right hand side, rolled it across to Forrest. First touch wasn't great, but he's blasted it over the bar, over the stand, into the jail. What a
terrible
chance.
finish.
Terrible.
Brilliant from Lawrence Shanklin, wasn't it?
Really good. And he played, the timing of the pass is spot on. It's everything that Shanklin needed to do. Forrest, he's got to do way better than that.
Let's have a look at the live table right now. So in terms of that battle for third spot, Hibs 56 points, Aberdeen 54, Dundee United 50, St Mirren, they're on 43 points. I know they go away to United next game. It's an outside chance, of getting a European spot. But let's look at the bottom half. So Motherwell 42 points, Kilmarnock 41, Hearts 40, Dundee 40, Ross County 38, St Johnstone 29 points. They're in big trouble. We knew that ahead of kick-off this afternoon. Alan Preston, any sign of a fight back there?
No, not really. That Uche shot with O'Hara saved, that's the best they've had so far in the first half. Kilmarnock a decent value for this 1-0.
Chance for Shanklin, 1-1.
There he is.
It's deserved, to be fair. Hearts have been the better side, but it's well worked. Great ball to Shanklin, and like Hale, touch, finish, bang, 1-1.
What I was going to say before was Dundee were actually still below Hearts on goal difference, but now Hearts are back up ahead of them on points.
Nice play, wasn't it?
Like, in all seriousness, this is what infuriates the absolute life out of me. Lawrence Shanklin, for a large chunk of the season, has not been playing as a striker.
Playing in midfield.
Absolute madness. The guy is a goal scorer. Yes, he went through a barren spell. Somebody that falls off their bike, what'd you do? Get back on it as soon as you can. He's played as a midfielder for the vast majority of this season. Absolute madness.
Liam Fox must have been feeding that into the managerial discussion, the coaching discussions. I mean,
well, it tells you what Liam Fox thinks.
Yeah,
straight away, you're my number 9. Bang, goal. There you go.
Great play, wasn't it?
Yep, good game.
Great play from
Nice
Lawrence Shanklin. Let's get back to the game. Paisley Aberdeen thought they had their noses in front. I think we're still waiting on clarification on that, but I've not seen it anyway pop through. We can maybe have a wee look at that, just why that Aberdeen goal was chopped off. Rory Lloyd, but what's happening there now?
St Mirren have come into the game, they've had the better of the chances. It's been pretty even, but St Mirren are more clinical in the final third. Graham Shinney's got a free kick at the moment out on the left hand side, but deliveries have been pretty poor from Aberdeen so far. It's let them down. There's another one which isn't particularly great. It needs to get higher and beat the first men, but no, Mark O'Hara had a good chance, very Mark O'Hara-esque, picking up a good position on the edge of the box. He got the shot through the bodies, but it was a really good save from Mitov. And Ayungo had a good touch and turn and shot, but it was a bit weaker, which Mitov managed to deal with. So pretty even here in Paisley. St Mirren looking a little bit more clinical, but still 0-0.
Kenny, the final league matches in the lower leagues today, as you know, it's been a madness.
Oh, there's a chance for County! Oh, it's somehow off the line. The big ball at the back post. And Wright's managed to knock up in the air, then White's gone in, Kenner's gone in, and someone on the line, I think it might have been Halkett or Penright's, managed to knock it off the line and back into Craig Gordon's hands.
Huge chance. I'll just say, they're just going to give you an update there. So the Pyramid Playoff semi-final. So last week we know that East Kilbride beat Brora Rangers 4-1. So they kicked off at 3 o'clock today. A bit of a fight back from the Highland League champions. They're 2-1 ahead this afternoon, but a lot of work to do. But right at the top of that League One for these playoff spots, Alan, it's very tight.
It is very, very tight, and it's really good. But just looking at the league this season, Kenny, in the lower leagues especially, as I say, that St John's shot wide. Bonnyrigg docked 6 points for the slope on their pitch. Clyde, who played at Broadwood, moved to Hamilton. Hamilton, who play at Hamilton, are now moving to Clyde.
Only in Scottish football, by the way.
Morton have got a transfer embargo. Hamilton have been deducted 16 points, but a couple of clubs going into administration. You just got to love Scottish football.
Apart from that, Alan.
And Hearts don't have a manager in case anyone has been switched in this afternoon. Just in case. Everybody's missed it.
We do love it, though, Tom, don't we? There's always a drama. We love it.
What were Bonnyrigg? 6 points for the slope on their park.
Yeah. I mean, that was...
But you know what? They're still in with a chance. So just looking at the live table right now, so they're obviously trying to avoid that pyramid playoff final. Looks like against East Kilbride as things stand. So that remarkable late winner. They actually won away at Forfar, who they're trying to catch the week before. Fantastic late win. I think it was 96 minutes they got that last week from memory. So they've got 34 points. Forfar have got 36 points. So still a chance, but they would need Forfar to. They're actually both drawing at the moment, so they need Forfar to lose that game and Bonnyrigg Grows to go on and get a winner. So they've still got a chance. So now 0, Bonnyrigg Grows 0, and Forfar Athletic 0-0 at home to Stirling Albion. Just another goals. Alla pulled a goal back away at Kelty Hearts. Luke Rankin in 44 minutes, 2-1 to Kelty Hearts there. In a short time ago, I saw a second goal going in for Cove Rangers. I think I saw that going. Peterhead, I pulled a goal back away at Clyde. Oliver Clotty with that goal on 31 minutes. So just I'll run you through the scores actually in League One. So there's lots to play for. Yeah, take it away, Rory.
I thought it was a goal. I thought it was going to be an own goal. It's really good play. Ayunga pulls out onto Shinnie. Total mismatch in the air. He flicks it on to Albiosha, who's been brilliant in this game, by the way. He pulls it back, and the defender gets a touch on it. Just goes by the post. St. grown ever more dangerous, but still 0-0.
Yeah, they've had a great season again, you would have to say. Just looking at League One, there's still things to be sorted out with the playoff spots at the top. So Annan Athletic 0, Cove Rangers 2, Arbroath 0, Queen of the South 1, Kelty Hearts 2, Alloa Athletic 1, Montrose 0, Inverness Cally Thistle 0, Stenhousemuir 1, Dumbarton 0. That's a big goal there for Steny. So Arbroath, they were crowned champions. As things stand, Cove Rangers are definitely on 57 points, as are Queen of the South 57 points. Steny, they have gone above Alloa, they're on 53 points, Alloa on 51 points. So still plenty to play for there, plenty to play for, of course, in the game, in that battle for third at Easter Road. It was a dreadful start for the away side. Stephen, again, any better from them?
They're more in the game, they're looking a bit more like themselves, but Hibs have obviously got that 2-goal advantage and they're just playing so well. They're playing with a swagger, Hibs. They're really enjoying their football. They're making the pitch look really big, and David Gray had a couple of selection dilemmas before the game. You think about maybe bringing Nicky Cadden back in. Kieran Bowie's obviously been excellent when he's been fit.
Oh my goodness gracious!
Same thing.
I said earlier on that Portales had scored a worldie with his right foot.
Oh my!
He managed to back it up with a worldie with his left foot.
I actually thought that was the same goal. It was a replay that we were seeing. I was about to jump in, Craigs, and I'm like, no, that's the goal from earlier. It's the same throw-in. It's the same error in terms of the clearance.
Long throw,
and it
ball
drops.
bounces about. He actually hits it with his left foot this time.
That is unbelievable.
It takes a big wicked slice. And Aston Oxford, who I have to say is about 6'4", just stands there.
Do you know,
Kenny, you have seen it. That is unreal.
Carbon copy.
Oh my
That's,
God.
you know what it's like sometimes
Spot
when
the
you're sitting in
difference.
here and it's half time and the goals are getting replayed, and sometimes somebody goes, oh what? Oh no, that's a replay.
That's exactly it.
That's what that was there. Except it's with his left foot.
I think the guy in front of him has just told me it's 2-0. No, I think that's what it means.
Sure
2-0, yeah. I've just got him.
That is
I cannot
unbelievable.
believe that. That is.
Do you know, there are actually some grounds you're at and the fans are very, very close to you and you're shouting quite loud and open all mics, and I have to say, as Craig is saying, you get some very interesting reactions from the locals.
Joe Shaughnessy's reaction, by the way. Hopefully we still see him here.
Right, here we are.
You'll get it for the reverse angle. He literally cannot believe what he's seen. He's got two hands in his head as it hits the back of the net.
It's just instinctive. And like, no goalkeeper, the old cliche, no goalkeeper saving that. That is top corner.
Can we also talk about Motherwell defensively, though?
There's a VAR check.
It's come off a few bodies. There's maybe potential handball or something in there, Kenny. Who knows? But
I think I'm just shocked that Portalis has scored 2.
Defensively.
Half time in Dingwall, 1-1.
Thanks to John Robertson. So Ronan Hale opening the scoring there. A great reply, you'd have to say, from Lawrence.
It's been ruled out.
No.
Portalis' goal's been ruled out.
I've
no idea what for. I'm not.
Let's have another look at this.
I haven't got something to it. But
Half time at McDermott, 1-0 to Kilmarnock.
Thanks to Alan Preston there. Offside, I think we're hearing here. Do you know what? And also wanted some clarity in the Aberdeen goal that was chopped
Offside?
off.
It was a long throw.
Wait, best
Half-time in
hand up.
Paisley,
best
St Mirren
hand
nil,
up.
Aberdeen
Is that
nil.
not-
He can't beat.
Right, so someone's telling me that it was the hand up for offside, but I've not seen it
Cannot
back, so
be
I don't know.
offside.
That was offside. Was it not?
I'm just waiting. I'm just waiting to see.
Nobody was offside.
somebody, I just had a quick look. James got it beside me. Somebody comes. Clark Robertson comes from an offside
But you-
position.
but you
to try
can't
to
be
You can't be
impact
offside
Dominic
from a
Dublin.
throw-in.
That's all I'm saying. I think he.
You
he
can't
comes
be
from an
offside from a
position.
throw-in.
For the second contact, that's it. So
No.
He's back on side
He's
at
back
that
on.
point.
Somebody was right off the
Motherwell should
park.
have scored. Johnny
came running.
Katrumbas get inside Larkesh. It's a lovely switch of play by Tony Watt from left to right. Katrumbas overlaps down the right hand side. It's the perfect touch. Tries to lift it over Carson, does so, but just puts it over the crossbar as well. What a double whammy that could have been for
that
Dundee.
was a huge chance. Guys, it's for the listeners at home, we've got the screens in here, all the games coming into the studio, and it's not on the biggest screen, that I have to say, but can you just describe what happened there and why you think the goal was chopped off?
I don't know.
No idea, Kenny. If it's offside, whatever Craggs is hearing, there was a player in an what you would see is an offside position, but my understanding.
So half time 1-0 Dundee.
You can't be.
You cannot be offside, and by the
can't.
point the second contact happens, it looks to me like he was back on side. So I'm.
And he doesn't have any. He
unsure.
doesn't play any part in
No,
it either.
no, he doesn't. So I'm.
Right, VAR HQ would like
Yeah,
an explanation and a call, and also Tom for Aberdeen chopped off
Just
goal.
to
We can
get
get
back
that as
to
well.
that, Kenny, which I've not had official guidance on that, but the understanding would be, which Michael I think alluded to earlier, is Kevin Nisbet would needed to have deemed as deliberately handling the ball, which for me at no point is that a deliberate handball.
it's not
So
a
if
deliberate
that's the reason why that goal has been disallowed, is that he's deliberately handled the ball, that is shocking.
Right.
Because there's no ways that ball's going over his head in the position that he was in with Gogic defending from the opposite side, that he knew where that ball was going to land. So we'll hopefully,
Messages
as
are
you
in
say, get a
on
bit
both
of
counts.
clarity.
Messages are in.
Right, Inverness Cali Thistle right in the stroke of half time. We've gone 1-0 away at Montrose. Paul Allen with that goal. Actually, a Cali Thistle fan on last week saying Scott Kelleher should be a shout for Manager of the Year. And also, just to give a wee shout out with an Aberdeen fan, we discussed this earlier in the programme, but an Aberdeen fan got in touch earlier on, if I can find it on the timeline here, to suggest that Jimmy Tulane, Ross Emily says, is it possible to debate why Jimmy Tulane isn't in the running for Manager of the Year, but David Gray is? Dons in third with same points, a League Cup semi-final, a Scottish Cup final already, and considering what a mess the Dons were in last season, I think, Ross, that's a very good argument. I put that one forward last week myself.
Why does it have to be? Why is it 3? Why can't I make it 4?
That's a good point.
But I mean, just.
But has David
what
Gray done a
difference does it
better
make?
job? As things stand.
Well, I don't know, Tom, because there's 4 nominated in the women's.
Yeah, so it's 3. Yeah, so 4 in the women's, 3 in the men. 3, like, just make it 4.
No, I don't
It's
know.
4 nearly everywhere else. Just make it 4, and then you could have Tulane.
Unless
and
there's
Gray.
only been votes for
Half time
3
Easter Road,
managers.
2-0 Hibs.
Unless
Aye.
I mean, well, that would be.
Yeah,
that would,
so that might explain
would
it.
explain
But
it.
can I ask you just,
Yeah.
I know the guys are saying about what if, right? So Scottish Cup finals to come, we don't know who's going to finish third. But see as things stand right now, and given, as the Aberdeen fans said there, the mess the Dons were in, is Jimmy Tulane right now a better shout than David Gray, or is that hard? I'm
know,
interested to know
I
your
know.
thoughts on it.
I think it just shows you the way people vote when it becomes a relevant thing around the voting. And we've spoken about the timing of it, because nothing's done and dusted. You're not voting at the end of the season when you can decide what managers have won. I think Jimmy Tulane's downfall is the fact that the league campaign and the reason why they're in the position they're in was more down to that early part of the season and the fantastic run that they went on. David Gray's benefited because his team were in turmoil and he was almost heading for the exit door if you'd have listened to a lot of people, and he's managed to, in the eyes of the people that are voting, turn it around and went on a magnificent run in that unbeaten run and is now competing at the top end of the table for third spot. Jimmy Tulane, I think, is just going to look like an unsung hero if he goes on and wins the Scottish Cup and still has that potential. But it's tough, and the voting becomes a bit tactical as well. Look, there's teams that they'll no vote for certain managers because they don't want certain managers to get the limelight, and the other that will give their vote elsewhere because they know it won't impact the outcome of the vote. That's just the way it works. Like,
Ian McCall said it last week, Lan, in terms of the players' vote as well. You get guys in the dressing room who are fans of Celtic or Rangers, and that will influence who they vote for Player of the Year.
Exactly.
Never mind the PFA Scotland. The football writers is the more senior prize.
Did they wait until the season's finished, or?
Well, I voted yesterday, so no, Sunday. I think tomorrow's the deadline.
Tomorrow's the deadline.
So I voted yesterday.
Right, do you know what? We're on the telly today. We're on a bit earlier now, actually. We're on at 4 o'clock. So we'll hold fire and we'll go around the grounds and get the latest from the guys at that point. But plenty to discuss with Tom English, Leanne Crichton and Michael Stewart, who are in the studio with me here today. Some big goals in the first halves across the country. And we'll give you, of course, the classified score lines later in the day. We'll get reaction from the fans from 5:30. We've got a Falkirk fan coming on. What a time it's been for them. What 2 seasons it's been for them. A St Johnstone fan, first up a Hearts fan, Dundee fan, Aberdeen fan. So lots of fans joining us later in the day. Stay tuned to BBC Radio Scotland. You're listening to Sports Sound.
Chance! And it's a goal! Oh, what a goal!
All the action from all the biggest games.
Oh, it's the second goal!
This is Open All Mics from Sports Sound.
From BBC Radio Scotland. This Bank Holiday Monday, Scotland versus the world celebrates the careers of runners Liz McColgan and Yvonne Murray.
And what Scottish queens of the track they were.
McColgan holds her hands aloft. Now Yvonne Murray is going to touch gold.
Join Andrew Cotter as he looks back at a golden era for Scottish women's athletics.
It was just amazing, the Commonwealth Games, and to be Scotland's only gold on the track, it meant a lot.
It was phenomenal. I think it was every athlete's dream.
2 steely and determined Scottish runners reached the pinnacle of their sport.
That's great for athletics because it means people are watching athletics.
Scotland versus the world. Monday from 1 on BBC Radio Scotland and Sounds.
You're listening to Sports Sound on BBC Radio Scotland. We're on the telly. In 5 minutes' time, we're on BBC One right through until 5:20. The conversation continues on BBC Radio Scotland. We're on right through until 7 o'clock. Reaction to come from pundits, from managers, and of course from the fans. So the half-time scores across the country: Dundee 1, Motherwell 0, Ross County 1, Hearts 1, St Johnstone 0, Kilmarnock 1, Hibs 2, Dundee United 0, St Mirren 0, Aberdeen 0. So into League One: Annan Athletic 0, Cove Rangers 2, Arbroath 0, Queen of the South 1, Kelty Hearts 2, Alloa Athletic 1, Montrose 0, Inverness Cally Thistle 1, Stennismuir 1, Dumbarton 0. So let's just have a look at how that affects things at the top of the table in terms of the playoffs. So Cove Rangers 57 points, Queen of the South 57 points. It's a straight shootout now between Stennismuir and Alloa Athletic. Alloa have got to come from behind. They're on 51 points, but Stenny, as things stand, have claimed the last spot. They're on 53 points. So let's go into League 2. Clyde 3, Peterhead 1, East Fife 1, Elgin City 0, Forfar Athletic 0, Stirling Albion 0, Spartans 1, Edinburgh City 0, Stranraer 0, Bonnyrigg Rose 0. And looking at the table, the one big thing that we've got to look at there is this battle at the bottom. Bonnyrigg Rose still in with a chance of beating that pyramid playoff. They are on 34 points, but Forfar Athletic on 36. As things stand, they will be safe. Of course, whoever does finish in 10th spot in that league will play the winner of the Highland and Lowland leagues in the pyramid playoff final. In the semi-final, the first leg was East Kilbride 4, Brora Rangers 1. So they are playing the second leg this afternoon. They've reached half-time. Brora pulling it back slightly. They're 2-1 up on the day there. We're about to go on to the telly. Tom Mingus will go back around the grounds when we do that. So just having a look at the half-time scores in the top flight, you know, it looked a real fright, you'd have to say, for Hearts, but Lorne Shanklin showing his class, getting the back into Dundee. We thought the game could have been over there, but the second goal was chopped off. Hibs off to an absolute flyer. Kilmarnock, you're following on from that great win last week. St Johnstone looked doomed as things stand, and very, very tight in Paisley.
Yeah, I mean, that's the big takeaway from the first half. It's a 7-point gap now between Ross County and St Johnstone. That's curtains. It's interesting. Elsewhere, Hibs really playing exceptionally well. 2-0 up against the Dundee United team that have up to this point, have a reasonably good defensive record. But Hibs have something about them at the moment. Hearts, they're getting a draw. Shankland, fair play. It's great to see him back as a reminder, as Mikey was saying, a reminder of how good a goal scorer this guy is. Maybe it might have been an idea to play him as a central striker for most of the season.
Or even play him at all.
I know that's an outlandish thought, but maybe.
But Tom, even just to play him at all, going back to the game where he started on the bench, that game that they had to win to get into the top six, the game at Fir Park.
Playing him behind the striker, playing him
2
out
games.
wide.
Didn't play at home against Dundee United either.
Yeah. And then we went back to this. The answer he gave when he was asked in the semi-final the following week when he was starting, why are you playing Lawrence Shankland today? Because he's a big game player.
Yeah,
but he wasn't playing.
It made no sense.
Madness.
No sense.
Yeah, so Lawrence Shankland doing the business there, Tom, but you still feel that Hearts have got work to do there. There's an unease, a frustration around, just in general around the club among the support at the moment.
Yeah, if they win, even if they win this game and they're kind of safe from 11th place, so what? Do you know what I mean? It's still a lousy season. Okay, Hearts fans will go, okay, well, that's good. We're not going to maybe not going to get dragged into a proper relegation scrap. But it doesn't do anything to kind of make their season anything other than a nightmare.
Yeah, and we're waiting on clarity, Tom, as you said earlier on, from VAR HQ on a couple of big decisions that were...
That goal, the second one at Dens Park, I'm just watching the replay again. I'm not 100% sure who it is, but they are involved after it. So the player is in an offside position when the throw-in's taken, but as we know, you cannot be offside from a throw-in. The ball gets thrown in.
It's hard to think. We'll come back.
They come back and they touch the ball.
It's hard to think they'll get that one wrong. So plenty more to come on BBC Radio Scotland. It's been a busy day. And welcome to viewers who have joined Matchday. I have to say, Leanne Crichton, Michael Stewart and Tom English are alongside me in the studio. We've been discussing the half-time scores around the country. Let's take a trip then around the grounds to get the latest on the 3 o'clock kickoffs. First up, Easter Road, Hibs up against Dundee United, and there for us is Stephen McGinn. Stephen, just give us the latest there. What's happening? Quite a start to that game.
In the battle for third, it's 2-0 to the home team. Hibs well worthy of their 2-goal lead. They've been very, very good. Before we go into talking about Dundee United's defending and how out of character it's been, they have been so good, and over the last 20 games you can see why they're joint top of the form table. They started well. They're playing with the swagger they've been playing with, but Dundee United just giving them goals. The first one, Levitt's played it to Cadden, and it's a good ball across. It gives you something to think about as a defender, but Declan Gallagher just can't shift his feet, and it ends up coming off of Martin Boyle to make it 1-0 to Hibs.
Yeah, so Michael Stewart is alongside me here in the studio. We watched the goals coming in there. Dreadful defending for United. We've given them an awful lot of praise for the defending throughout the season, Michael.
Yeah, and obviously Stephen was talking about it from Easter Road as well prior to the game and at the start of it as well that Dundee United have. Up until last week, obviously it was a bit of a doing by Celtic, but before that they'd had the best defensive record outside of Rangers and Celtic. But they've sort of continued on. It's not been great defensively. Normally they defend their box very well, but Hibs, they've got a real bit of dynamism and energy in their side, and especially at home they really go in after the throat of the opposition, and they're in a commanding position this afternoon at home.
Right, let's get to the game in Dingwall. We gave this one the big build-up earlier in the programme. We discussed everything that's going on at Hearts following the sacking, of course, last Saturday of Neil Crixley. So Hearts away at Ross County this afternoon. There for us is John Robertson.
Yeah, it's all square at the interval, but it's all Hearts the first half there. They had a chance after just 3 minutes. George Grant knocked it just past the post before Adam Forrester had a shot from 25 yards straight a misser. Grant smashed one over the bar again before Forrest really should have put Hearts in front. He was clean through and he lobbed a weak one over the bar, and it was Forrest again. The ball rolled to him 6 yards out. His shot was smothered by Amisa. Incredibly, Ross County went right up the park. Brilliant ball from Kenner into Hale. Hale smashed it across Craig Gordon, giving him absolutely no chance. Hearts shot back. Shankland brought out a double save from Mesa. Forrest then blasted over after being put clean through from Shankland. But it was Shankland himself that got the ball. It worked it really well into Shankland's feet. He turned, smashed it home from 20 yards. Then Hearts managed to scramble one off the line after both White and Wright had efforts at the goal. And then right in half time, they went down the park gate and Grant had a shot just past the post. So it's end to end. It's one way traffic first half, but County are right in the game with a wonderful finish. Half time in Dingle, it's 1-1.
John, it was a quality finish from Lawrence Shankland. Can you understand why he's not featured more this season and featured in the position he's best at?
No, I think he's featured in a lot of games. I know he was injured around about January, he missed a few games, but it's strange because you had the emergence of young James Wilson was going well and looked really sharp. Then Cabangu came in January. And it's like Neil Critchley tried to shoehorn Lawrence in the team, played him at the tip of the diamond. Don't think it really suited him. He has to be in the box. You saw it Hampden, half a chance goal. There's today, half a chance goal. So, you want to play him. You want to play him up front. You'd always play him. And Michael said it just halfway through the half. He's scored an insane amount of goals. I mean, it's nearly 60 goals in 2 seasons. I think that's some 6 now. He's maybe up to somewhere around about 65 goals in 3 seasons. But he's a striker. Get him in the box, he'll score goals. And today he's set up a couple of great chances for Forest and he scored the goal himself.
He has suffered from the deficiencies of the team this season in particular. And then as it's rolled on, the captain taking more weight on his shoulders, being played out of position, it's almost like he's fallen into this comfort blanket, which is the worst thing that could have happened. He needed the manager to have him as the number 9. James Wilson shouldn't have been playing every week. He's so young.
Michael,
by all means,
his best performance all season was actually, I think, up here. He played up front with young Wilson.
Yep.
And Wilson scored 2. The goal disallowed as well. Wilson, Hearts share a penalty. It finished 2-2 bizarrely. Shankland was magnificent. The way he cajoled young Wilson in the park, he was talking to him, he was guiding him. But the 2 of them played up front.
Yep.
As strikers.
I wonder as well if his contractual situation has played on his mind a little bit. It's ongoing, protracted. Looks like he's going to be leaving the club, but this has been a bit of a soap opera behind the scenes.
I think it's all factors in it. But again, it comes back to a complete lack of leadership. The senior management at Hearts, this is on them. It's all on them. And I'm telling you, had the things been in a better, situation off the field at Hearts, they would have stood a far better chance of Lawrence Shankland staying at the club.
Well, they did make him an offer, and a pretty good offer.
Yeah, I know
it's just that his advisors thought he was worth a lot more than that.
I get that, Tom, but the point I'm making, if Hearts were riding high this season, they would be in a far better position for Lawrence Shankland to convince himself that, you know what, I'm going to stay here.
But
and that's on the senior management.
Also strong leadership, Michael, though, would have got the best out of him
this
season, regardless of whether he was leaving the club or not, signing a new contract. What you would have had was a goal-hungry striker that was moving on to other things, and you would have made sure he went out with a bang.
Oh, what a save from Craig Gordon. John White blocked. There's appeals for a penalty when it first knocked down. Leanne, you might be able to see it. It's dropped to Hale. What a strike. Craig Gordon just does what Craig Gordon does. He just stayed nice and big and saved it, but the County fans were looking for a penalty there.
Don't know if I'm seeing too much, John, to be fair.
To be fair, I think what happened was, I think Beningame or Halkett cleared it against one of the other defenders from about point blank range, but what a save from Craig Gordon.
Kenny, I've just got to say though, to go back to Dens Park, they showed just at half time there the footage that the player that was in the offside position from the throw-in can't be from a throw-in. When the first header, the first contact was made, they flagged him that he was still marginally offside, and they think that he obviously then got a touch on the ball.
They got the VAR guidance if you want it.
Right, so
we don't need it. I've just told you what happened.
On the I mean the listeners and the viewers might want it, Mikey. On the Aberdeen one, handball by attacking player, unnatural position, and the Dundee disallowed goal, player in offside position, impacting opponent by challenging for a ball.
Right, okay. There was also actually a big call by VAR in the game at Dens Park, Dundee at home to Motherwell. Let's get the latest there from our reporter, Stephen Craig.
Yeah, the current score kind of here at Dens Park, second half just underway. Dundee 1, Motherwell 0, and I have to say what a fantastic goal it was as well. From Motherwell's perspective, poor defending. It was a long throw, Dundee's right-hand side. Ball bounced about in the box. It fell to Antonio Portales, who's usually a central defender but playing as a holding midfield player. He caught it flush as a volley right in to the top right-hand corner of Aston Oxborough's net. Couldn't get anywhere near it. And then they were edging towards half-time, and he got a second. It was a long throw, very similar. This time Portales with his left foot put it into the exact same top corner, but Michael's right, ruled out for offside. I did say during the first half, or towards the end of the first half, it was Clark Robertson. But after the ball was flicked, he was in an offside position from the throw, which is fine. But the minute the ball touches another player, he tried to then try and go and impact Dominic Thompson. As he cleared the ball, he impacted him, and the referee quite rightly was advised by VAR to disallow the goal. But Dundee have been good. They've slightly edged the game, and they lead by a goal to nil.
Yeah, this feels like a big one, Leanne, following that terrific win for Dundee last weekend. To follow that up at home today, that's going to ease concerns majorly for their fans.
Yeah, it would be huge. I think any sort of momentum, back-to-back victories, positive signs and reinforcement at this stage of the season, ultimately points is going to be the difference, isn't it, between how your season finishes and where you want to be. So, no, undoubtedly, what I love about Dundee, and I've said it for weeks, Kenny, every game they play to win. They're not down there surviving. They're not just trying to see out games and look to try and play in the counter and tricky moments. So performance-wise, they look to me like this afternoon they've been super aggressive. I mean, Craigs has probably seen it better than we are, certainly been across all the games in the studio, but they look to try and play a certain way. They've got good numbers in attack. They're creative.
Yep. I didn't want to come in with Stevie Craig, but Rory McKenzie came on at half-time. I think he's been shoved in the box for a penalty kick.
Chance Dundee United, what a save, Jordan Smith.
The ball goes up the other end. Uche Piezu has a header just wide of the target. But I think this is a penalty, Kilmarnock. Have a look at it, please.
Right, we're going to have a look.
Coming across to the screen now, yeah.
I saw it happen in real time, by the way. I think he might get a touch on the ball, though, potentially.
Right, so this is a big moment here. So Alan Preston is McDermott Park, St Johnstone against Kilmarnock. Killie ahead in the first half there. We all felt it was a must-win for the home side this afternoon, Alan Preston. But Killie, you say thoroughly deserving of the lead. It could be extended in the next few minutes.
They've got a chance as a penalty kick to Kilmarnock. Yeah, and I thought it was a penalty at the time. St Johnstone broke away. You can see the reaction of Rory McKenzie as well. He was furious.
The only thing I was looking at, Alan, was whether he got a touch on the ball or not. Because I was the same as you. I heard a sort of noise and I looked up and I saw it and I thought, yeah, that looks like a foul in the box. But seeing the replay, it's in one of the small screens. I just couldn't see clearly whether he got a touch on the ball or not. But clearly he hasn't. And I think he comes through the back of him. And I think it's a fair shout for a penalty kick.
And it's going to be massive for St Johnstone. This could be it, the final nail in the coffin for them, unfortunately, after 16 years in the Premiership. It's not mathematically, but they're not going to be coming back for this. It'll be Danny Armstrong who'll take it. And
right, we'll stay with you, Alan. We'll stay with you, Alan, for the penalty. A big moment, as you say.
It is, it's massive, and they lead 1-0 already, Kilmarnock, from a 12-minute goal from David Watson. Lovely play down the left-hand side. Got a little bit of break in the ball, then and Daba poked it back to David Watson. One touch to control, and then he curled it from 20 yards into the bottom corner. This could make it 2-0. It's Danny Armstrong coming up. He's going to take this left-footed. The keeper's on his line. The referee's just trying to clear the box. Again, he's telling the St Johnstone players just to stay out. Armstrong will come up. He'll take this left-footed. Oh, the keeper nearly saves it. Goes in 2-0. Poor penalty. Not a good penalty at all. But it goes into the back of the net. So St Johnstone 0, Kilmarnock 2.
Yeah, and you've got to worry. You've been concerned for St Johnstone for a number of weeks now. They've looked doomed, albeit that terrific result, of course, on the Sunday at home to Celtic, but they've not been able to build it up. Right, hold fire. Let's get to Easter Road. This battle for third spot. Let's get to Stephen McGinn. A goal, Stephen.
Yeah, well, Jim Goodwin made a double sub at half-time. He brought on Trapanovsky and Glenn Middleton, moved to a 3-4-3, took Van der Sande and Babinski off. Already the two wingers have made a major impact. Jordan Smith does amazing to keep it out from Adebiega in the corner previously, but this time no mistake. I think Kukarevich loses the flight of the ball and it just bobbles around. Trapanovsky quickest to it and makes no mistake. 2-1, game on.
That's a big goal. Look, it is. It's an important goal for Dundee United to get back in it defensively. Hibs miss their opportunity to clear, but it's a good finish. Really good finish. Yeah, alert, lively inside the box, good connection, switched on.
Right, the goal's flying in. Let's get to the game in Paisley. We thought we had a goal there in the first half. Rory Lloyd, St Mirren at home to Aberdeen. What's happening now?
Yes, currently 0-0, as you say, Kenny. That flashpoint came in the first half when the goal was ruled out from Ockles after Kevin Nisbet deemed handball. It's 0-0 in the second half. St Mirren have started slightly better. Idovu's come on for Ayunga, and McGrath is just about to come on, as well as Polvara for Aberdeen. Probably tells you Jimmy Tilling's not overly happy after the opening 10 minutes of the second half. there's not a lot to report in terms of chances in this second half. One thing I would say is the referee's a little bit card happy at times. Nicky Devlin certainly deserved a yellow card, but other than that, there's been 3 or 4 handed out, which I didn't feel the need for a yellow card. So there's a few players treading ice at the moment in terms of tackling and things like that, but in terms of the football, no chances in the second half, still 0-0.
Kenny, see when I was just going to bring this up, the penalty kick, it was a wee anomaly that somebody pointed out to me the other week. From a penalty kick, you can't encroach as long as your feet are on the line, behind the line. You can be leaning forward, you're closer to the goal. But when it comes to offside, that exact same thing doesn't happen, because you can be leaning forward and you can be flagged offside if your head is over. But when it's a penalty kick, you're judged as not encroaching as long as your feet are outside the box. Should it not be one and the same?
You would like to think they'd make
especially when you're closer to the goal.
Yeah. So see, speaking of interesting decisions, going back to that game, we had any at the game in Paisley that the goal was chopped off for Aberdeen in the first half. Were there any clarity through on that? Of course, the VAR HQ, they give us some guidance on that, but I think the feeling was you felt it was a bit harsh.
I think Tom read it out. I think it was
but it was a bit vague, and it wasn't very clear when he read it out.
Okay, I'll read it out again.
Was he in an unnatural position, in your opinion?
Handball by attacking player Kevin Nisbet, unnatural position.
And do you guys agree?
Clear,
yeah, but do you agree with that interpretation?
Do I think it's right? No.
His arm was out. His arm was out.
I know, but
challenging in the air.
But we also spoke about the contact from Gogic from behind, and if you have any sort of contact in your mid-flight, naturally your body's going to move. So I think his body was natural in relation to what was happening.
I think slightly unlucky.
But I would agree that I think if there's not the contact on the hand, I don't know if you get the same opportunity to score, because I think it does impact the play.
Do you think so?
But based on the loss of the game, I think it's a grey area.
It was a borderline one, but I don't think it barely touched his hand. I don't think it changed the flight of it either.
Maybe it slowed it down, did it? The ball.
Maybe. I mean, look. Ultimately, it's the referees, the officials have decided that his arm was in an unnatural position. But I think Leanne summed it up. You know, he's in mid-flight. There is contact. It's not a foul, but there is contact. So I think you need to take that into consideration.
There's a big goal in terms of the playoff spots at the top of League One. Stennismuir 1, Dumbarton 1, Marcus Shields. Yes, John Robertson.
2-1 Hearts, Shankland again, just where you want him. A brilliantly set up goal. It's smashed across the face of the goal by Forrester. Shankland toe pokes it in. Ross County 1, Hearts 2.
Do you know what? See when these things happen when a manager is sacked, and you're thinking, Neil Critchley, it's not rocket science. He must be thinking, why on earth did I not play the guy that was sensational last season for us, the guy that's at Scotland call-ups, the guy that knows how to find the back of the net? Why on earth did he not do? What's he sitting thinking today?
Well, I tell you why, because it's like the classic square pegs and round holes syndrome, where the team have no pace, but he's decided to go with Vargas and Forrest in the wide areas. These are two guys that are massively inconsistent, but it's working here today, which then allows you to have Shankland through the middle. He decided after a while that he couldn't do that, and that he was going with this diamond to try and accommodate Wilson, who had a little bit more pace, and Kabangu, who had a little bit more pace. But they ended up playing like inside forwards. They weren't like two strikers. And Shankland was too deep. I didn't agree with it, but I could understand the logic and what he was trying to do. But this comes back to an imbalanced squad that has impacted Lawrence Shankland. You put two proper wide boys throwing balls into the box, Lawrence Shankland would have been banging another 30 goals in this season.
Rory Loy, we shouting potentially, you thought, we're just in a replay now, Rory, of that incident through there in Paisley.
I maybe jumped the gun slightly early. I could see Declan John just eyeing up Shayden Morris as he clipped the ball past him, but I don't know if he does catch him in the end. But the way he went down and Morris kind of signalled that he wanted a penalty, I thought it was potentially a penalty, but we played on just now, no penalty.
Yeah, Aberdeen right in the race for third spot, Leanne. We've had St Mirren fans in the programme. They've got an outside chance of getting another European spot. We've had St Mirren fans on the programme talking about, it's the experience of a lifetime when they got European football at the start of this season.
Forrest,
but whatever happens,
it's chance to make it 3.
Here we go. Let's get back to that game in Dingwall. John Roberts is a belter.
Play from Hearts. The ball was played up. Forrest flicked it round the corner to Shankland. Back to Penrith. What a through ball for Forrest. He raced away from Randall, and this is just blocked. It's blocked on the line. A chance to make it 3-1. Forrest, good hand. He's been a wee bit lucky. He's had a couple of weak efforts, but he could easily have had 3, maybe 4 goals.
Stop trying to reinvent the wheel. You said it there.
Yeah.
And that's it. I mean, what Forrest's just done there is good wide play. Hearts don't have. They didn't play with any wingers because they were limited in those areas. But what they do have, they've used
Could be
today.
a penalty, Dundee United. Oh,
Right.
he's booked him for diving. I don't think that's a dive.
Right, OK, let's then get back to Stephen again. He is at Easter Road. Stephen, just talk us through it.
Dundee United are playing with a real tempo. It's a brilliant 1-2 from Ross Docherty. He's got the other side of the Hibs player. I don't think there's any need for him to go down. I thought it was a clear foul. It was whether
Just
it was
getting a
outside
good
the
look
box
at
or
it now,
inside.
Stephen. Decent replay here.
No.
I don't think it's either. I don't think it's a foul and I don't think it's a dive.
Yep, I'd agree.
Oh!
It's almost like just I don't know if he
Go
can't.
for Park! That's for Park. Dens Park. Sorry. I think I just gave away who scored.
Tap the guy in the shoulder.
He's put his hands in his head. I'm just about to tap him in the shoulder. I want to do my report here. Ball into the box.
Chance goal for St Mirren.
Tom Sparrow.
Right, OK, we'll get back to Stephen Craigan at Dens Park. Goal in Paisley.
Yes, Mikel Mandron, he takes it really well. It comes to him unexpectedly, and I think he chests it and he volleys it in with his left foot. I would be asking the question how he's got time to do both. In the box, 6 yards out. Good finish in the end, and it's St Mirren 1, Aberdeen 0.
Yeah, he signed a new deal. Do you see him speaking this week? He's eligible to play for Scotland. Mikel Mandron, this is a decent striker. He's got a bit of work to do still to go. There's no doubt about that. But Stephen Robinson clearly sees something in him, and he has been rewarded with a new deal. And that's a huge blow to Aberdeen in terms of their battle to get third spot in the league.
McDermott Park, game's gone on. Ash comes on, the water sprinklers. The game's been stopped because the water sprinklers have popped up.
That's all. We've been summing up everything that's been going on in Scottish football. That's another one to add to the list. Well, let's get back to Stephen Craigan.
Chance up here. Hearts at the bar. Sorry, lads. Spittle. Cutting from the left. Smash one from 25 yards at the bar. County have responded. 3 off, 3 on. On come Fetty, Nisbet and Phillips, and off go Kennett, White and Brown. Still 2-1 Hearts.
John, just when we've got you on, we've spoken a lot about Hearts in the programme. You flagged up your concerns earlier on. You see a lot of Ross County. Things are looking really bleak for them right now. They're in that playoff spot
Possible
on 35 points. But they are 5 points now, John, as things stand behind Dundee. They're on a worrying run of form.
Yeah, well, said they've lost their last 5 league games, and they've been second best today. Hearts really should be out of sight, but we all know what happened here the last time. Hearts were 2-0 up and lost a goal in the 96 and 97 minutes. So you can never rule Ross County out. But yes, I mean, if they lose today, then obviously Don County will be worried.
Right, we're going to go back to Rory in just 1 minute. That's goal given. There was a check, but St Mirren are ahead in Paisley. Let's get back to Stephen Craigan. It's been a great game there. So many talking points, Stephen. And just for viewers who have joined us on BBC One, you've been getting a bit of jip there in the stand from a Dundee fan. You're getting your own back now.
Yeah, listen, it's all in good nature. We all love Scottish football. We all love when there's goals going in, there's a little bit of drama. But I have to say, Motherwell will be much better in the second half, Kenny. Tuanda Maswanisi has replaced Harry Payton. Not that Harry Payton was playing poorly, but I just think Tuanda Maswanisi is more of a winger. But the goal came, Callum Slattery drove through midfield. He went for a little diagonal ball from left to right. Tom Sparrow actually knocked it back into the path. I think it possibly with Lennon Miller. He ran through and towards the edge of the box. It ricocheted back to Tom Sparrow, and he side-footed it into the roof of the net. I think they deserved it due to their second half performance. They've been much better, but the game is finally poised, and it's there for someone to go and win it if they're brave enough and they have the quality to go and do so.
Yeah, just looking at the updated table now, of course, County now just 3 points behind Dundee after they were pegged back, and of course we thought they were 2-0 up in the first half. That one was chopped off, and Motherwell have fought back in that game. So I just want to come to yourself, Michael. We're touching earlier on St Johnstone, Alan Preston talking there about the poor performance today. Kilmarnock thoroughly deserving of their victory. You called this one weeks ago. You couldn't see a way back for them. They look doomed at the bottom of the table right now.
Yeah, I mean, look, credit to Simo Valakari trying to play football the right way, but equally there has to be a level of understanding and pragmatism, and just all too often, the best teams don't continually play in the wrong areas. They understand and they make the right decisions, and just too often, I'm thinking of, off the top of my head, I can think of 3 or 4 instances where the ball's played into the middle of the park and the midfielder, be it Sprangler or another, just coming completely flat to the game. No awareness of what's around them. Whoever they're playing against just nipping the ball off their toes and within 2 passes in the back of the net. And for St Johnstone, when I said earlier, the margin for error is so slim, they can't afford to gift goals to the opposition, and it's happened too often.
Do they have the players with the discipline to play with pragmatism, Mike?
But see,
I'm not sure they do.
But pragmatism, I mean, it's just understanding not to play in certain areas. I thought you were about to say, have they got the players to play that style of football? And see, my retort to that is that every player wants to play good passing football. I think back to when John Hughes were talking about, obviously, when he was at Cali. When he went into Cali and he played all football. That's how John Hughes plays. And look what they ended up, finishing third, winning the Scottish Cup. And it wasn't as if, you know, look at the defenders they had at the time. You wouldn't have said that they were defenders that were akin to ball-playing to guys. But if you coach properly and they find themselves in positions that are comfortable with because it's been drilled into them, that's your pass, 5 yards there,
Michael,
10 yards
other
there.
teams, I was at Dundee during that spell, and everybody hated playing against Inverness because you knew you were barely going to get a touch of the ball with hands in midfield, etc.
Yep.
And it plays into the mindset of the opposition as well. They were a fantastic team. They really were, that side.
So here comes the cavalry for St Johnstone. Nicky Clark's on, Sidibe's on, Uche's still on. They've got McPake on the left. They've got Carey on the right. They're going for it again. That's too late.
Alan, just while you're on there, because it was an interesting signing when it was Craig Lean that made it, bringing Uche back to the club, Uche Ikpeazu. How has he looked today? I know he had a long spell out injured. Has he looked a threat at all today?
He's a big physical presence, as we know. His touch isn't the best, and he's missed a few chances in the air. He's not had a lot of football. I believe what we were told is he hurt his knee walking down the stairs in his house, and he's been out for most of the season. So he's been a very, very, very expensive player not to have played for St Johnstone. They can't afford that.
Very, very, very expensive.
Exactly, the most expensive at the club.
Wow.
Thanks.
Alan, that's not his fault, though.
Not at all. No.
Whose fault
as
is
if
it?
he falls down the stairs.
Yeah. Well,
somebody's fault.
No, I mean with regards to wages.
Whose fault is it?
I know, but what I'm saying is, though,
Michael's asking a question.
I think Michael has the answer.
No, I'm just posing the question. Whose fault is it?
It's his pin-up hero.
Yeah, it was an interesting signing, you'd have to say, perhaps a gamble that didn't pay off there, Alan. We've spoken before that the club means an awful lot to you. Relegation looks inevitable now. We'll get a St Johnstone fan joining us on the radio from 5:30, and we know, Alan, how competitive that championship is. Yeah. It could be worrying times for Saints fans.
It can be. You know, my worry as well, Kenny, they're not under the safe hands of Jeff Brown anymore. Jeff left about 3.6 million in the bank, which I now believe is now virtually gone. How much the new owners have put into this football club since he took over, it's not a lot. So they're going to have to put their hand in their pocket. They've got 600,000 so far from two young boys going down south to English clubs, and they've got $500,000 for getting to the semi-final of the Scottish Cup. So there's 1.1 million that they don't have to find. My worry is the owners, to be honest, and how much they want to try and get back into this Premiership.
They waste about six figures on two players who never played for them, Alan.
Yes, they did.
Two young boys who then they had to buy.
Yeah, a young Swedish boy and a young boy from Millwall.
A total administrative nightmare.
Yes,
what was that?
Well, the people have now since left the club, Michael, but they didn't get the letters of authority to say that the clubs they were at didn't want what's called UEFA compensation, and both players signed came to St Johnstone for their rightful compensation, and it cost just over £500,000.
When was that?
Earlier on in the season,
and by the way, neither of them are at the club now, and neither of them played in the first team.
Yeah.
Wow.
Never played again.
Never.
$500,000.
Who was involved in those deals?
Well, Callum was still here at the time, although it wasn't him, but it was round about that time.
Right, you know, really poor decisions. It's not going well on the part for St Johnstone. They look doomed, and they've not played well today, as Alan was telling us. Now, there's a
VAR check here. Sorry, Kenny.
Yeah,
VAR check for what I don't know.
Right, OK, we'll just have a wee look. We've got all the pictures coming into the studio here. So Leanne and Michael, Derek McInnes is just having a wee look there. He's kind of shaking his head. He doesn't know what it's for, but here we... Is that a handball they're calling?
Handball. Doesn't look like it is.
No, play on.
First viewing. Yeah.
Play on.
Right, OK, play on in that game. Let's get back to the game at Easter Road in this battle for third spot. Stephen McGinn is there for Hibs. Dundee United giving themselves a lifeline there and looking like building on that, Stephen.
Yeah, absolutely. They've been excellent the first 20 minutes here. Whatever Jim Goodwin said, I know he made the double sub, but whatever he said to the guys at half time, he he's got them going. I imagine it wasn't very nice words, but they've been really excellent in the second half. Hibs have actually struggled with the change from Dundee United almost playing like it's an end of season fixture, not from anything, to actually playing like a team that's going for third place. And Hibs have really, it's knocked them out their stride from playing really well. So they've actually did well to kind of gain a bit of composure in the game, but certainly get a game back on here, still 2-1.
Anytime I've looked down at the game at Easter Road, it's looked far more even than it was in that first half, because in the first half, Stephen, it just looked as if it was Hibs attack after attack, whereas it looks far more even now. Dundee United a lot more aggressive in their play.
Yeah, absolutely, their fans can sense it as well.
Yeah, just as a huge goal. We've been keeping you up to date on this because they scored a 96th minute winner last weekend, but Bonnie Groves are trying to pull off a great escape at the bottom of League 2 to avoid that pyramid playoff final. As things stand, whoever does finish in 10th spot there will face the Lowland League champions East Kilbride. They're well ahead now on aggregate against Brora Rangers, but Bonnie Groves have scored. They are 1-0 up away at Stranraer. Aaron Arnott with that goal on 70 minutes. So we just look now at the live table. They're level on points with Forfar on 36 points. Bonnie Groves won at Forfar a few weeks ago to keep their hopes alive. So as things stand, they need Forfar to lose their game. Forfar this afternoon, they're at home to Stirling Albion. 72 minutes played there, and that one remains goalless. So plenty at stake there this afternoon. Let's get back to the game that Stephen Craigan is watching, the game at Dens Park. Dundee at home to Motherwell. Just talk to us about what you've seen from Michael Vimmer's side. Very new, of course, to Scottish football. It's been a bit up and down since he's come in. Stephen Craigan, how's he approached this game today?
Well, the big difference today, Ken, is he's changed the shape at the start. Last weekend against St Johnstone, they were trailing by a goal to nil. Their 3-4-3 system wasn't working, so he went with the back four midfield and one number 10 in behind the centre forward, which was Tony Watt. So he's actually started that way today. First half, they were comfortable in possession, but they lacked a little bit of penetration. They lacked the cutting edge. Dundee deservedly led at half-time, but in the second half, certainly the first 10-15 minutes, Motherwell were the better side. They got that equalising goal. It's given them a little bit of belief that they can come here and they can actually win the game. Dundee now have made a couple of substitutions. Seb Palmer holding his own again, so Tony Docherty needed to just mix things up. So it's more of an even game since then, but it's finally poised. You know, there's no doubt there is going to be a winner. I feel there's going to be a winner here. It's just who has that little bit of quality, who has that little bit of composure when the big moment arrives. But it's certainly been a very good game. Yeah,
usually plenty of goals in any game, Tom, that Dundee are involved in. We've spoken a lot this season about their really poor defensive record. They were terrific, of course, getting top six last campaign, but it's been a bit up and down this season, hasn't it?
Yeah, it has. I mean, it's difficult for Tony Dock because he had so many loan players last season, 10, 12, a lot of them playing a lot of minutes. He's got to reinvent the team practically. He's had some defensive injuries, important defensive injuries early on in the season. Hence, the defence has been very porous. I think early on in the season, Tony Dock would have settled for survival. You know, I think they overachieved last season to get where they were. Survival this season, go again next season. At the moment, they're just about there.
You're a big fan, Leanne. You said it earlier in the programme, the job he's doing, how he approaches games, the style of playing. Of course, they've got their talisman in Simon Murray, a terrific player for them.
Yeah, which, by the way, he's been the difference for them this season, because any side that's in a dogfight or they find themselves at the bottom end of the table, you need goals to get out of that. You need clean sheets and you need goals. You need to be able to carry that attacking threat, and Simon Murray's brought that in abundance. He's been a joy to watch, he really has, and he epitomises everything that Dundee are about, in the sense that they're not having their best season. It was always going to be difficult to go and back up their achievements last year, but he gives absolutely everything. And if that's one of the players that you're looking to in a match day for a bit of inspiration, a moment of magic, to keep going even when they're done, that's a mentality shift for me.
You feed off that, don't you, as a player?
He's got it, and the fans feed off of that as well, because the fans appreciate what the players are giving on the pitch, and he shows that.
Signing of the season.
He'd be my player of the season.
Signing of the season. There's guys like Nicky Cadden, obviously. I think Penrice has been brilliant at heart. First year, that'll be the same. But I think you've got to say Simon Murray for Dundee. It's got to be the signing of the season.
I know he loves Dundee, Alan, as well. Do you think there would be a move in him come the summer? Do you think like a Hearts, a Hibs, an Aberdeen would look at him, or is Dundee where he's kind of set to be now for the foreseeable?
I think so. I think he would stay there. It's his club. But
well, it's working for him, isn't it?
And you've all spoken, Tom, about deserving of a call-up to the national side.
Yeah, look, I mean, he's 33, hungry as hell. I mean, this guy, and he's a nightmare. When he's not scoring, his work rate is astonishingly good. I just, in the football writers, I voted for him as Player of the Year because in terms of difference, if you take Maeda, who'd be the other one, if you take Maeda out of the Celtic team, I still think Celtic win the trophies that they're going to win, have won and will win. I would imagine at Ham.
His value to Dundee is...
His value to Dundee, I think he keeps... If Dundee stay up, I think he's kept them up with his goals. That's... His contribution has been profound for Dundee so far.
Let's get to the game in Paisley. Aberdeen thought they had the lead in the first half. That goal was chopped off. St Mirren have got themselves in front there. Michael Mandron with that goal. Rory Loy is there for us. What's happening now, Rory?
Not a lot. I mean, Aberdeen have made some substitutions. Tobias come on for Keskinen, and I'm not surprised that Keskinen and Ockles have ended up off the pitch, simply because despite a good start to the game, they've been out-muscled by St Mirren. Richard Taylor, Gogic and Fraser at the back, Albiosu and Declan John in the wide areas have done a fantastic job since the opening 10 minutes and just quelling Aberdeen in terms of their physical strength. So, they brought the bag on, but again, it's similar to the Shanklin debate. I know Nisbet's been in good form, but he's playing as an out-and-out 10 at the moment, and there's balls flashing in or getting crossed in, and he's the guy that's playing it wide for the cross to come in, and he's not able to make up the ground to be in the box. So I find it a little bit frustrating watching him because he's got the potential to do more further up the pitch. So not dissimilar to Shankland, although you wouldn't bet against him coming up with a goal the form he's in, but it's still 0-0 at the moment.
Yeah, we spoke about St Mirren's outside chances of getting a European spot. So as things stand, they're 5 points behind Dundee United. The next game is away at United, so still some hope for St Mirren fans if they can hang on today, and of course they'll be hoping that United lose that game through at Easter. Let's get back their action here from Stephen McGinn. It sounds like a great game there, Stephen. Very open.
Yeah, second half's been excellent. The introduction of Kieran Bowie has brought some control back into the Hibs performance. Every time I watch him play, actually, you can't believe he doesn't play more often. I didn't see the game last week when he started, but he brings a real quality to that Hibs attack, and he certainly grabbed this game again by the scruff of the neck.
Stephen, one for the summer to take him. Stevie Clark take him. Liechtenstein in Iceland, I think it is.
He's got potential. He's something. He's a big player. He's a big presence. He's a good player, Michael.
Yeah, he is. I'm just touching on what Stephen was saying there. I just wonder whether David Gray's just been managing him towards the end of the season, because obviously he's missed a big chunk of the campaign, and I wonder whether he's just been trying to make sure that he doesn't have a recurrence of the injury before, and sort of feel his way into the last part of the campaign and get himself properly fit for pre-season, which may well influence, if that is the case, it may well influence what happens with Steve Clark in the national team as well.
Well, listen, Dave Gray's made the right decision. Both strikers have scored in the game. I think it's actually the best I've ever seen Kukarevich in the game. But
I would agree with you, Stephen. If you were just looking at the two, with Kukarevich and Kieran Bowie, I'd be playing Kieran Bowie every day of the week, head to head. But as I said, I just wonder whether there are other factors at play with that.
Yeah, he's got to be, as you say, looking after his player. He's had a tough time with injury. Let's get back to the game in Dingwall. A huge match for both sides. Ross County against Hearts. Let's get the latest from John Robertson.
Yeah, there's 13 minutes to go. It's still Ross County 1, Hearts 2. The two Lawrence Shanklin goals has got Hearts back after coming from a goal behind, so a terrific strike from Ronan Hale. It's been a much more even second half. There, Randall just had a shot blocked. Hale's had two good shots, one unbelievable save for Craig Gordon. Spittle set the crossbar for Hearts. Forrest could have scored another two, but County are still hanging in there. They've made 4 substitutions. They're throwing it. Hearts are getting a wee bit nervous and looking a wee bit leggy. It wouldn't surprise me if Liam Fox doesn't freshen things up, but it's still 2-1 to Hearts with just under 12 minutes to go.
See, I think Liam Fox deserves a bit of credit here as well, because he's got to try and rejuvenate these players who are lower than a snake's belly, and also he's got to stick to his beliefs in terms of he's reintroducing players here that have had very little game time, and what he's doing is he's simplifying the game for them. There's not any convoluted, systems or formations. He's getting the best out of, currently their talisman as well. So he's made some big calls. They're what you would class as obvious calls, like I would suggest the managerial appointment should be an obvious choice. But so often you get caught in this loop, this closed loop thinking of, no, we can't do that. And Liam Fox has gone, no, we will. Back to simple basics, simplify the game, logical thinking, and Hearts have been good. They deserve to be in front here.
Let me put this to you then. Do you think if he can win the remaining games this season?
No.
But
No.
I'm not saying the goal for him. Do you think he would approach the board and put his name in for it?
Yes, I believe he wants a job, but
wait a minute, Alex, hold on. You think he wants a job?
Yes, 100%.
Right, he wants a job, but you think no chance?
He's playing against the bottom 6 teams, and if he gets all the results here, I think Liam Fox is very capable of stepping in, as we've seen in the 2 occasions, but not as in Hearts manager.
What have we just spoken
at the
about?
moment.
Strong leadership, experienced manager. Liam Fox is not that. Hearts need a strong leader. They need a manager.
Making a change here. Vargas is coming off. Danda, a local favourite here, has come back on.
Kenny, we have a VAR check here at Dens Park. Johnny Katrumbis made a tackle, I think, on Larkesh. The referee allowed the play to go on. The ball eventually landed in the hands of Aston Oxford. He booked Johnny Katrumbis, and he's now been offered the chance to come and have a look at the screen to see if there's a more cynical foul and a possible red card.
That's quite high, isn't it?
It's a red card all day. Catches him right inside his calf. Craggs the point of almost like his boot fills the length of his shin.
I've just had a little look on the screen beside me.
Red card all day.
That should be a red card, yes.
It will be. No doubt about it.
Yeah, just watching it again here.
That's the same as should.
I don't know
be a
what
red
he's
card.
thinking there. That is a horrible challenge.
Yeah, so it's Kevin Clancy,
Really
the referee. He's coming over now.
Without a doubt.
And he booked him, Craggs, originally, did you say?
Yeah, he originally booked him, so he's wiped out the yellow card, and he's quite rightly given him a red card. So Motherwell down to 10 players, and Dundee now in the ascendant, I'd imagine, for the rest of the game.
See, to go back to just what we're talking there about, the Hearts situation, I do fundamentally believe that the setup that Anne Budge originally put in place was the right system in terms of if you want to go for young inexperienced head coaches, then you need to have that experienced head as the head of the football department. The problem was she picked the exact wrong person, and I think to this day that is still a legacy that lingers over the club detrimentally. They are afraid.
Really?
Yes.
It's gone back a long way.
They are afraid.
That's the thing. That is
a chance here, Shankland. He's got Forrest in the middle again. Chance to finish the game for Alan Forrest. 3-1 and a brilliant move down the left. He slipped. Shankland just rolled it across. Forrest, we wondered, is he ever going to score? Yes, he has. Good first touch. Left foot past the goalkeeper. I'm not going to say game over, because I know what happened the last time.
that result will be
goal. It's 3-1 Hearts.
Brilliant from Shankland.
That result is welcomed here at McDermott, because these Ross County play St Johnstone next week. Last chance saloon again.
Oh, they keep saying that. Well, yeah, I know.
I know, but it's 5 points now, Kenny.
And you're right. They've got more home games in the running. They've got more home games St Johnstone in the running. But that was great play, Leanne, from Shankland, wasn't it?
Well, he's preying on the mistake, isn't he? There's a slip defensively, which Ross County will root, but he does really well. Yep, he's got an assist, but credit to Alan Forrest, because it's the type of afternoon. John said it as well. He could have had 3 or 4 goals this afternoon already. He's had to persevere, he's had to keep getting himself into those areas, and as soon as Shankland wins the ball back, he's on his bike, he's in a dangerous area, picks it up, good first touch, composes himself, puts the ball back.
I just wonder what might have been for Hearts had Critchley not put Shankland where he should be playing. But look at the influence. There's 2 goals and an assist today already.
No. Again, it's the fundamental issues, the squad's imbalanced. You cannot run a league campaign Vargas and Forrest as your 2 outlets in the wide areas.
Well, I mean,
simple.
They're not as balanced today.
It's one game. It's one game, Tom, against the bottom team in the.
But if you play, I accept that. But if you put Shankland through the middle, you give yourself a much better chance.
Yeah, but you're imbalanced team. Imbalanced.
I know he's a brilliant player, but James Forrest has just scored for Hearts, according to the announcer up here.
Oh.
He scored 16 seasons in a row.
There he goes. That's it. We're giving him it.
Fantastic.
I don't think
James Forrest.
I don't think his brother will be chuffed.
Maybe they should sign him. But go back to the point.
Yeah, the club. By the way, more bad defending from Ross County here. Their heads are down, and you got to worry if it's a 6th straight defeat, as you say, for County. They could be down there again for the 3rd year running.
The club are spooked from that strong character that was in the club. 100%. There is no other explanation why you would continually go for young, inexperienced head coaches with young, inexperienced
But he's
heads
gone.
of the football.
But he's gone.
No,
You're talking about Craig Levein, he's gone. It's not down to Andrew McKinley and Budge.
But you're not getting the point. They are spooked by somebody that was in complete control, and they are going way against it. Because no.
That was meant to be the conveyor belt, Tom.
Let me tell you.
Young manager after young manager.
I'm not finished.
Since you're talking about it, the finishing position is like third, fourth, third.
That means nothing. You're missing the point.
It means nothing.
You're missing the point.
Big shout for a penalty
They
for
go
Hearts here.
away
See anything?
from making an appointment of a strong character. Logic would tell you if you try something and it doesn't work, you would then go back to a strong leader.
Working. Third, fourth, third.
Well, it's clearly not working because they kept sacking the head coach.
Well, that was their mistake, maybe.
Right, Tom.
But third, fourth, third, is that not working?
Tom.
So what should Hearts be?
Why did they sack the managers then?
No, the question here.
No,
Mike,
why did they sack the managers?
What do you think Hearts should
Why
be
did
rather
they
than
sack-
third, fourth, third?
Why did they sack the managers then,
Well,
Tom?
I think they probably overreacted with Robbie Nielsen, and Stephen Naismith had the worst start in the history of the club.
Right.
That's why they sacked him.
But I thought it was working.
Well, third, fourth, third is working. That's why I said earlier on at the stop of the programme, Hearts is complicated.
But you're undermining your own point, Tom.
Third, fourth, third is a fact, Mike.
Yeah, but you're undermining
No
your
penalty.
You're going
No
back
penalty,
to Craig,
right.
You're going back
I'll
to Craig
explain in a
Levein,
minute,
and it's
John.
all his fault. Since he left,
I'm not saying...
the problems for Hearts. Let's look at this season, which has been a calamity for them.
Who
Go
said
back
it's all their
3, 4,
fault?
5 years.
Who said it's all their fault?
Right.
Who said it's all his fault? I'm saying that
Michael,
his
sit
character
and have a beer in your
is.
bonnet.
I'm saying his character still has a legacy in there because the board are fearful from having another.
Michael,
Didn't have a legacy
Tom,
when
we
they finished third last season.
we need to get around the grounds. And do you know what? We'll put that point to a Hearts fan who'll join us on the radio later on. Concerning times for Hearts fans, although it eased a bit, of course, with that result. Well, it should be a result, we expect.
Oh, off the line. Chance for Shagland. Oh, for what save? Dearie me. Hearts have played well today. You know, you're saying give Liam Fox credit. He deserves it because they've bossed this game from start to finish. A big chance here.
Chance for Hibs, Josh Campbell. Oh, what a clearance, Ryan Strain.
Right, back to Stephen McGinn, Easter Road.
Yeah, it was that man, Kieran Bowie again. Brilliant power and pace. He's cut it back for Josh Campbell. He's beaten Walton, but I think Ryan Strain's had an amazing clearance with his head.
Right, and would you, what you've seen today, would Hibs be deserving of the points, despite the fact that United have done so well in the second half, Stephen?
Yeah.
Say again?
Yeah, definitely, but Dun United just passed up a massive chance. Seville just free header in the middle of the box. It looked, I mean, you could see it happening. Brilliant ball from Ryan Strain, trademark cross into the box. He was free, middle of the goal, and just didn't get the connection. But Hibs have really showed resilience because Dundee United were excellent for the first 20 minutes and they've really dug back in to get control back in this game.
Brilliant clearance from Strain.
Yeah.
Mikey and I both just seen it. Really good play from Hibs, if it was Bowie with the cutback, but Strain really outstretched, gets a strong header on it.
Chance for Motherwell, Kenny. They've actually looked okay with 10 players. Maswanisi has been such a bright spark since he came on. He managed to fizz the ball across goal. Ewan Wilson, who's on as a substitute inside the box, took a touch with his left foot, had a snapshot with his right foot, and Trevor Carson had to get down low to tip it past the post. It's still 1-1. As we said, Motherwell down to 10 players after Johnny Katrumbas was sent off for rightly a late tackle, a high tackle on Larkesh, but they're certainly not giving up the ghost. They believe there's 3 points here for them.
Is he quite a frustrating character, Maswanisi? He's got so much raw pace and talent, hasn't he, Steve? He's inconsistent, isn't he?
Well, he's a bit off the cuff at times as well. He's missed a few games through injury. He hasn't been first choice under Michael Bimmer, but whenever things weren't going, they just put Dan Casey off the crossbar. Johnny Watt just over the crossbar left foot. So I just on Maswanisi. He wasn't in the mindset of Michael Bimmer. He started a couple of games and he didn't do that well, but he was the first person to go to at half-time when he thought his team needed a little injection of pace and a little injection of creativity. He's the one who went to. I think he's under contract for 1 more year, so moving forward he'll be a big player.
Right, let's get back to the game in Paisley. St Mirren with the advantage there. Rory Lloyd deep into the closing stages of the Dons, staging any sort of fight back there.
They're playing okay in front of St Mirren. They're passing the ball around. They're not really hurting St Mirren, I have to say. Jim Lean's changed things up. I know there's been a few discussions on the show recently about having too many strikers on the pitch. They've now got Fletcher Boyd, they've got Papa Gay, they've got Nisbet, they've got DeBag, and I'm not really quite sure where anyone's playing. They just seem to be interchanging positions. They've had a lot of the ball, but I just don't think they've done enough. It's quite frustrating to watch them actually. St Mirren playing with a back five, more so since they scored the goal. It was more of a three. Morris has just went by his man here though, well done, corner kick. And they're trying to play channel ball, so Nisbet comes to the ball, DeBag runs in behind, but when you're playing against a back five, you've got the left back who's there. Richard Taylor's coming across for cover. Declan Jones then get time to get back. It's just getting snuffed out constantly. There's another corner here. They're not banging down the door. I wouldn't have said Aberdeen. Still got a chance of maybe getting back in it, but the way it's going, I don't see it.
For the third time St Mirren have beaten Aberdeen if they win this season.
Yeah, they've got a very good record against them.
Hibs twice and Hearts and Rangers. I mean, it's been a terrific season for them, taking some scalps.
Players like
2018 was the last time they won here in the league, Tom.
Yeah.
Wow.
Aberdeen.
Wow.
Shayden Morris must be the most frustrating player, because he literally has gone by a defender like they're not there. Drops his shoulder, Rory. That should be happening every single time he gets
in fairness to Morris, in fairness to Morris today, Leanne, he has done that, and any time he hasn't went by Declan John, he's not hid, he's got the ball, so he has consistent, and that's probably why he's still on the pitch, because Morris is one that you would think would get subbed if it wasn't going so well.
What's the missing piece to the puzzle then? Just the runs, the support runs for the mid of the pitch?
I said it in the first 10 minutes that the Aberdeen had started well, but the set pieces, whether it be a corner, whether it be crosses from open play, the final bit is not good enough. And when it has on the odd occasion been good enough, Nisbet's been part of the build-up, and he hasn't been anywhere near being in a scoring position.
Yeah, well done to St Mirren. They look like getting another 3 points here, as Tom said. Some big scalps in this season. Of course, they have lost some, actually at home, some really poor games there. I can think of Motherwell, I can think of Ross. Of course, County St Johnstone have lost to there this season, but they've pulled off some great results in the top six again, and still an outside chance of getting European football. Right, back to Easter Road.
What a ball from Nicky Cadden. They're really unlucky not to get into the initial counter-attack. Josh Campbell's cut back, just cut out, but Nicky Cadden's got a wonder left foot, and Dwight Gale won't miss from there.
That's too easy though, Stephen, defensively. Dundee United have got 3 players spread across the 6. And they don't compete, he just nicks in between the two of them. It's a great delivery, but I just...
Has he just come on, Nicky Cadden, I think? Has he just got the part? Yeah,
just a short time ago, yeah.
They made a triple sub, including Dwight Gale, including Nicky Cadden. and it's paid off. Honestly, Kieran Bowie is terrified Dundee United since he came on, and they're so worried about him. The initial good play from Bowie, the second phase, as you say, Leanne's right, they've not defended the middle of the box. Dwight Gale's just standing there, he hasn't moved.
So many bodies, they've literally got a 6v3. Dundee United, no contact, the player in the middle of the 6.
There's a lot to be said for how on the back foot Hibs were in this second half, and how much in control they've ended up. They've been really, really good the last 10-15 minutes.
Yeah, he is in the shortlist for Manager of the Year. David Gray has done a terrific job after some really dark times towards the start of the season. It's been a really dark season overall, you'd have to say.
Tawanda Maswanisi! What a header! I've got to say, the architect is Dominic Thompson, because Motherwell had to play on the left-hand side. He's just took off down the right-hand side. Andy Halliday played him in. He ran down, went across with his right foot, chopped onto his left, stood a lovely ball up to the back post. Clark Robertson can't move his feet, doesn't get off the ground, and Tawanda Maswanisi jumps and leaps and powers the ball into the back of the net with his head. 2-1 to Motherwell.
That's a great header, Craggs. He's up there, he's hanging, isn't he? Towers above, we're just waiting for a replay, but the delivery was excellent from Thompson. But certainly the header looks equally as good. I can see Tony Dock on our screens getting a look at the iPad in his technical area, wondering what's happened. One, how does the cross come in? Who doesn't do their job in stopping it? And how does he get the run and the movement? He's probably looking to see if the goalkeeper could do better, but I think you've got to give credit to the
It's a great header.
Attacker.
But I'll tell you what,
brilliant header.
The role in which Dominic Thompson plays in that, because when you're down to 10 players and your team go in the attack, it's easy sometimes to full back just to sit behind the ball.
That could have been the one there, a brilliant strike. Gets saved by Craig Dawson. That gets saved, but drops and smashed off the bar by Robertson. That's a chance.
Who'd be a manager? You know, earlier on in the Tony Dock thinks his team have gone 2-0 up. They're cruising.
I know who I'd like to see as one. And I'd love to do that post-match interview, I'll tell you that.
He wouldn't turn up. He'd refuse to speak to the media.
These are all working on the premise that it would be a defeat.
Do you know what I love about fans? On you go, Michael, on you go.
Robertson there is just defensively. That's not a brilliant ball from Thompson, Craigs. You know, it's a floaty ball at the back post. Nobody's in front of him. Clark Robinson can see the ball coming all the way, and he's a yard behind it. And Maswanisi just gets effectively a run on him. That is terrible defending.
The thing is, it's a good.
For some reason,
I know.
It's
he's
a
on
good
his heels,
delivery
Craigs.
because he's going to force Robertson, which Robertson should just defend the situation. What he doesn't want to do is probably put it behind for a corner, because you just need to go and get a flick on it and redirect it away from the attacker. He does neither, and he does get bullied.
And he's got to score to make it 2-0. Oh, he's offside.
Just looking at the fans there, the away fans, the Motherwell fans up there, the guy, the big drum right above his head, huge celebration. But what about that Dundee fan? Is he away home now, Craigs?
No, he's gone quiet. I'm quite happy to allow him to sit quiet in front of it. I might tap his shoulder at the final whistle, but I'm not going to get involved.
Is that us down to 3 teams now for the relegation and the playoffs?
Well, let's have a look at the live table. That's a good shout, Alan. Let's just have a look at the live table right now. So St Johnstone 29 points, County 35.
Dundee 38.
Yeah. 37 now. 37 now. So, are you really? What we're saying, it seems fairly obvious, Tom. As things stand, St Johnstone look to be gone, 29 points, and it would look to be between County and Dundee for that playoff spot.
I'd agree with that. I think Kilmarnock have done enough. They're 6 points off 11th. Hearts, Motherwell, I think they're all going to be fine. So I think it's
time in Dingwall. Ross County 1, Hearts 3.
Huge win for the Wayside there after falling behind. We'll get more from John Robertson later in the programme. We've got a Hearts fan joining us on the radio from 5:30. We'll go through the classifieds, we'll have a look at the table, and of course we'll bring you managerial reaction right here on Sports, and you're tuned into Open All Mics. That's our first full time of the day in the top flight. 5 games all covered, of course. The Old Firm game tomorrow, full coverage in Sports, and Sports is on at 11:30. The game itself kicks off at midday. Let's then
Lift your
get
head, Zadowu, he's in here. James Scott, can he finish it? Oh, what a block that is from Nicky Devlin. Aberdeen are throwing everybody forward. St Mirren are just attacking it well when they win the ball back. It's meat and drink. Aberdeen far too direct, eating into St Mirren's hands. St Mirren got the other end. It should be 2-0, but it looks like it's going to finish 1-0. We've got about 30 seconds left. 1-0 St Mirren.
Full-time in Perth. St Johnstone nil, Kilmarnock 2.
Yeah, we'll get a full-time report from Alan Preston later. Sima Valakari's usually fairly quick out, even though he has suffered another defeat today. We'll get his thoughts. We'll get a St Johnstone fan joining us later in the programme. Just an update. We've been covering this the last few weeks, that battle at the bottom of League 2. Bonnyrigg Rose did their bit this afternoon, winning 1-0 away at Stranraer, but they needed Forfar to lose. Forfar have just finished goalless at home to Stirling Albion. So if we look at things as they stand, that will be
potential penalty in St Mirren, or St Mirren for handball.
Bonnyrigg Rose, they will be up against East Kilbride in the Pyramid playoff final. That is, of course, over 2 legs. So back to Rory Loy, a penalty shout in Paisley, Rory.
Yeah, sorry for interrupting you, Kenny, because they did that old thing that they do here sometimes. Oh, good save, Adowu again. He's been excellent since he came on. He swerved one with the right foot. Good save by Mitov. That's full time. Full time. St Mirren 1, Aberdeen 0.
Yeah, we can hear the fans there. We can see the pictures coming into the studio there. They've got terrific support, have St Mirren this season. And as I say, they're still in with a shout. It's a long shot, but still in with a shout of making the European places. If we look at the live table right now, St Mirren 45 points. Dundee United, they've got them in their sights. United are on 50 points. They play each other next weekend at Tannadice, so all to play for there. So we are still playing in the game in Dingwall. John Robertson. No, John, sorry, John. Hibs, Easter Road. Sorry, John, we'll come back to you in just 1 minute. Back to Easter Road. You were an absolute cracker through there this afternoon, Stephen McGinn.
Yeah, I've been lucky with the game. It's been excellent. We're into 6 added minutes, halfway through the 6 minutes, but they're just playing it out now. The game's won for Hibs, and they are really, really close to third place and securing the target that Dave Gray has set.
Yeah, I mean, it's one. He's an obvious contender for Manager of the Year because of where they're likely to finish, Tom. They're banging contention for third spot, but it's a story, isn't it? Because we were told, we all felt that game, the dramatic lace comeback against Aberdeen, the midweek game at Easter Road, The suggestion was, if that hadn't happened, he could have lost his job. The club stuck by him, and fantastic for them.
Never mind manager of the year, you know. I mean, he's got no control over that. He has control over his football club, and he has shown incredible resilience through very difficult times. He has lifted this club up. He's got confidence in his team. He's got organisation in his team. A team that was addicted to making really sloppy and damaging errors at the back have stabilised. And there's an elan in this team now. There's an attacking verve in this team. They're good to watch. And I think he's just done a hell of a job.
I think what he'll have got from his peers and other managers, and why they would have voted for him as well, Kenny, is the manner in the way he conducted himself during that period.
Yes.
You know, he was really calm, he was really composed, he was very honest. I don't think he ever at any point came for the players. I think he always had the players' backs. He was always reassuring that there was a process and that he had a belief that he was the right person for the job. And I think people respect that, because for a young manager like that in that type of position at a big club that Hibs are, could have crumbled, could have got angry, could have started blaming other people. Players are not playing for me, they're not doing enough, they're not listening to the message that I'm telling them, they're not doing what I'm asking them. It's individual mistakes, there was none of that. There was real class about him, and I think anybody that knows David Gray, whether he was a player or as a coach, in the job that he's done, that is kind of how he comes across.
And he could have snapped. I mean, he was asked in that period an awful lot of tough questions.
Yeah.
And he never snapped.
Up, Tom.
He never snapped. It was very, very impressive.
Dwight Gale's in. Good save, Walton.
Oh my goodness!
Stephen, what's happening?
Well, Motherwell should have made it 3-1. They've defended about 4 long throws. Tuanda Maswanisi beats Scott Fraser on the halfway line. It's a foot race. He outruns him. He goes and has the shot. Trevor Carson saves it. Dan Casey, the centre half, is standing beside him. He's ran the full length of the pitch. Should have a tap in and puts it wide. Would have killed off Dundee, but they're still alive. I don't know how long Kevin Clancy's playing. He's not playing any longer because he's just blown his whistle. Full time here, Dens. Dundee 1, Motherwell 2.
So, and also heard from Steve McGinn, the full-time whistle going there at Easter Road. We'll get managerial reaction for you on Sports. Michael Stewart, Leanne Crichton, Tom English alongside me in the studio. We'll get the classified scores for you. We'll have a look at the tables and think of that battle for third, and also the battle at the bottom of the top flight. Things resolved at the bottom of League 2 this afternoon. There was also much to play for in terms of the playoff spots at the top of League 1. We'll clarify that for you as well. We'll get fans joining us from 5:30. We've got some music on the radio for you from 5:30. Motherwell midfielder, he'll be delighted today, Andy Halliday. He is choosing the songs for us on Sports Sound this evening. Michael Stewart, as you look down these results today, we'll get a bit more detail from our reporters out and about at the grounds, but let's just start then with that game that's just finished there at Dens Park. And Tom said they're the life of a manager. Tony Docherty, he thinks he's going 2-0 up there, 2 wonder goals. He probably thinks, look, that could be job done, we could be safe. Motherwell, fantastic fight back from them, because Michael Vimmer, it's been a bit up and down for him this season.
Yeah, I mean, obviously he's not been in the job long, Michael Vimmer, but I think the biggest takeaway is that regardless of whether Motherwell had won or lost this game, I think they were going to be safe anyway, Motherwell. It's Dundee that's the real significant result there. That leaves them in big trouble. And the problem, every time I think Dundee are looking fine, looking good, looking solid, and looking like they're going to string a few results together, something happens. I think back to the overall performance and result at Easter Road a few weeks ago, which, they were battered 4-0. And then you think, oh, that's a tough one. But they come back, they get a good result at Tynecastle. And then you're looking for them to back it up there today, and it looked like they were going to do that. But all of a sudden, second half performance from Motherwell, credit to them, and they've ended up winning the game. And Dundee are now, it's 2 points ahead of Ross County. It's concerning times for Dundee. I thought that they would have pulled away by now. I thought, 3 points the other day and they would have been safe effectively. But the guys were just saying on Open All Mics there that this is, I think it's now between the three of them, obviously. I think St Johnstone, they're down. So you're literally looking at between County and Dundee for who ends up in that playoff spot. It's a wee bit concerning for Dundee.
I mean, over the span of the season, they're conceding just over 2 goals per game. This has been the problem. And yes, they've had injuries. and I think that damaged them earlier on. I'm not sure, they haven't really fully recovered that, their composure in defence. If you're a Dundee fan, you're worried now because they can't stop conceding goals. I know they've had a couple of games relatively recently where they haven't, but
Tom,
73 goals conceded now.
10 more than St Johnstone, and we've spoken how open St Johnstone how bad they've been defensively. Let's bring in Stephen Craig, and he's at the game for us this afternoon. Hope we'll get some managerial reaction on the telly for you before 5:20. It'll certainly come on the radio. The conversation continues there right through until 7 o'clock this evening. Your thoughts, Stephen Craig, on that game this afternoon? Dundee looked to be in control. We thought they're going 2-0 up, but all credit to Motherwell. What a terrific fight back.
Yeah, and I think if we strip it back to that moment when it goes 2-0, Dundee are probably thinking that's us. We're in a really comfortable position leading into half-time. But when it's disallowed, Kutrumbis right from that free kick could have made it 1-1. So the mindset of Motherwell changed. It's as if they got a second chance. The manager, Michael Bimmer, made the sub at half-time. It really changed the impact of the game. Dundee always like shooting down the hill in the second half here at Dens Park. For those who don't know it, the slope as you sit in the main stand from right to left. Motherwell must have won the toss and turned them round. They were shooting down the hill in the second half, and they had all the momentum. Everything was with them. I don't really remember Dundee having a clear-cut chance until Motherwell went down to 10 players. Lyle Cameron, I think, a 2-1 fizz one just wide of the goal, but there was nothing really in their play. They lost their way. Motherwell got the upper hand. They're the team that were full of energy, full of drive, and it was complete contrast from the first half where I thought Dundee were the better team and it looked like they could score at any time. But in the second half, they lost their edge altogether. Defensively, they weren't great at times. They were open, they were exposed. Clark Robertson for the second goal, really poor defending. He got himself caught under the ball. He was searching for Mastroianni. He was wanting to make contact, focusing on the attacking players as opposed to thinking of going to head the ball. So when Tony Docherty strips it back, he'll probably think, how do we go from playing so well to so poorly in the second half and allowing Motherwell back into the game? Of course, then you have to give Motherwell credit, the manager credit. Michael Bimmer, he made the substitutions. The goal on the hour mark completely changed it. But when they go to 10, Motherwell go to 10, you think, right, Dundee have to really chase after this game. They did at times and left themselves a little bit exposed, but Motherwell had a real strong mentality. When we were thinking 2-3 weeks ago, they hadn't won many games. They won last week, and the second half performance today was a lot more encouraging than what it's been. So I think over the piece, I thought first half Dundee deserved it. Second half, I think Motherwell deserved it, and have rightly, with 10 players, showed lots of character and resilience and quality to go and get the 3 points.
Well done to Motherwell this afternoon. As I say, we'll try and get some managerial reaction for you. The pressure was very much on Hearts this afternoon away to Ross County. John Robertson is there for us. Again, John, it sounded like a terrific match up there this afternoon.
Yeah, it was a good game, to be fair, and Hearts dominated most of the early exchanges, Kenny. Forrest could have had 2 or 3 in the first 20 minutes. Grant was shot just wide after 3 minutes, and then Forrester had a shot just past the post. Grant shot over Forrester again from 6 yards, side-footed it straight at Missa, and then Forrest shot just past the post, and right out the blue, County went up the park. Magnificent goal from Ronan Hale, brilliantly worked, slid through from Kenna, rifled it across Craig Gordon. You thought, oh, here we go. But Hearts stuck out. Lord Shanklin brought out a double save from Missa, then Forrest burst through, clean through and goal, skied it over the bar, and then again he was put in by Shanklin, and again he panicked, put the ball over the bar, but Shanklin showed his quality and class. Ball was playing at his feet from Grant. He turned, rifled it past Missa to bring Hearts level at the break. They come out the first minute, second half. Craig Gordon had an unbelievable save. Ronan Hale just turned and swerved in the box, smashed it. Gordon stuck up a big right hand to keep it out, and that proved pivotal because from that moment on, Hearts just dominated the game. Forrest went down the right, played it into Forster, crossed the goals. Who was in the middle? That man again, Lawrence Shanklin, to toe pocket past the meter, and he just cracked on from there. Forrest was clean through again, shot just past the post. Spittle then hit the bar. Hale had another good shot, well saved by Craig Gordon. Forster went through, hit one just past the post as Hearts tried to get the third goal, and it duly came in the 87th minute. It was a slip at the back from Effetti. Shanklin raced down the left-hand side, rolled it across. It was exactly the same chance that Forrest was presenting in the first half, but this time he took a touch and rifled a left-foot shot past Amisa to give Hearts a thoroughly deserved 3 points, and it'll send the 800 supporters who came up the day down the A9 with a little bit less breathing heavily and a bit more result, because it was a thoroughly deserved performance and a thoroughly deserved victory, and a big boost for Liam Fox. He changed it up. He went with a front three, played Shanklin through the middle. Michael said it, round pegs and round holes, who'd have thought? But it finished here in Dingwall. Ross County 1, Heart of Midlothian 3.
Yeah, Tom, this time last week we were actually discussing the future of Neil Critchley. It was a disappointing result at home. Alan was telling us a lot of fans hadn't turned up that day. The ones that had, we could hear their boos on the final whistle. It was just a couple of hours afterwards that he, of course, was sacked. And he must look back on it now and think, as John Robertson said there, it's actually quite simple, because you've got Lawrence Shankland, play him in his right position. We know he delivers. He was excellent this afternoon. And as John said, fair play to Liam Fox getting the best out of this group of players.
Yeah, you'd wonder, was Liam Fox trying to get that point across to Critchley before? Can you just don't play him where you're playing him, play him through the middle? We'll possibly never know that. What's interesting now is you can see a reminder today of how good Shankland can be. What does the next manager do? I mean, he's obviously out of contract. I think Hearts have kind of switched off to trying to keep him. I think there's been negotiations going on non-stop, but it's really kind of petered out now. New manager coming in, he looks at Shankland, you must think, hang on a second, this guy's part of the solution.
Yes.
So, wondering where Shankland is now, given there's going to be a new manager coming in pretty soon.
You feel that he should have just been through the middle the whole time, Tom?
Well, I mean, I don't know, Mikey. I mean, it's his natural position, right?
I was wondering, last week when obviously you got a sense that you were saying that Neil Critchley was under pressure. I mean, had you been given any sort of indication that was the case? Because
no,
seldom do you. I thought you were pretty bold in your comments there, and everybody else on the radio was, pretty much against that.
No,
what made you think that?
Well, I think he had 2 games and he had to win one or both.
What made you think that?
Probably the reaction last week of the fans.
The game against Motherwell to get into the top 6, League Cup semi-final, I think, or Scottish Cup semi-final.
That's quite a bold call to say that he wouldn't survive the last 4 games of the season.
I didn't say that. I said he wouldn't survive next season, and then a conversation went in. Oh, what about, will he be sacked now?
Yeah.
I didn't think he'd be sacked immediately, but I didn't expect him to be.
Let's pick this up later on when we've got a Hearts fan joining us, Lan. Just briefly, a word on Ross County, as we heard from John Robertson. It's really worrying times for their fans now.
It is, yeah, because they're in a losing run, in the worst type of losing run, and I think one of the longest that they've had in quite some time. But the reality for Ross County is, and what they probably prepare for, is that ultimately their remit is to survive. Now, whether you do that automatic survival by finishing outside the playoff position, or you end up in the playoff position, ultimately you still then have an opportunity to survive, and I think that will now be the focus. Of course they can get out of it, and knowing Don Cowie and the type of guy he is, he won't give up. Even looking at him in the touchline today, he's all action, he's kicking every ball, he's still trying to get the best out of his group. He'll still have belief that they can do it and have that control over it, but what they need to do is pick up points, and that is the reality, and certainly at home. And I know John had touched on that today, being I think their second, they've only got one more game at home, with the Brighton saying that after today. So really tough afternoon, tough result, but they've still got points that they can go and get.
Even bigger concerns, Alan Preston, for fans of St Johnstone. Another sore one for them this afternoon.
It was, Kenny, yeah, and they're going down with a whimper, if I'm being honest. Kilmarnock deserved to win today, and they won by 2.
Dundee United do well to fix the initial counter-attack in the 87th minute, but when it falls to Nicky Cadden's feet and he's able to find Dwight Gale in the middle of the box, he's not going to make a mistake. Made it 3-1 to Hibs, and it felt like a really big day. The fans quite obviously knew the Aberdeen result through in Paisley, and it feels like the real significant day in Hibs finishing 3rd this season. Full time here at Easter Road, 3-1 Hibs.
Thanks to Steve McGinn, so a great home win there. Also a great home win in Paisley this afternoon. Rory Loy, St Mirren against Aberdeen.
Yes, indeed, and St Mirren overall probably just edged it and ran out deserved 1-0 winners. The action started early on when Clarkson dragged a shot just wide on 7 minutes. Ockles then picked the ball up in the middle of the goals on 25 minutes and volleyed into the net. However, Kevin Nisbet was deemed to have handballed in the build-up, which meant the goal was then ruled out. So I'm sure there'll be a little bit of conversation about that afterwards. Smith's wonderful crossfield pass to Ayunga, who collected the ball and shot just wide on 30 minutes before O'Hara's shot through bodies was really well saved by Mitov. Mandarin had an effort saved towards the end of the first half. However, it was 0-0 at half time. That didn't last overly long though. There wasn't too many big chances in the second half. However, one did come on 60 minutes when O'Hara found Mandarin in the middle of the box. He chested down and volleyed into the back of the net. Aberdeen will be disappointed with the defending on that one, so they went 1-0 up, did St Mirren. And then moving on from that, Aberdeen ran out of ideas. They played in St Mirren's hands, really direct, balls over the top. They did work a few nice positions by moving the ball across the pitch, but everything was in front of St Mirren, and Aberdeen will be really disappointed with their day's work. I just felt like out with the first 15-20 minutes where they were very good, it was like they almost hadn't watched St Mirren play before, and played right into their hands, to be totally honest with you. And as I said, over the piece, 1-0 was a fair reflection on the game. So finishes here in Paisley. St Mirren 1, Aberdeen 0.
Thank you to Rory Lloyd. What we'll do now, we'll do the classifieds for you. We'll have a look at the top flight table, and we'll try and bring you some managerial reaction before we leave television at 5:20. So in the top flight, the classified scores for